Night 2. A little late here getting set up. Tonight flew by. My wife came home, went and got some food real quick. We came back home and ate it, and it immediately felt like it was almost 10 minutes away from 7:30. So apologies if I'm a little flustered. Still getting the hang of the schedule here. So had to run downstairs also and get some water. I didn't even have time to do my vocal exercises. Okay, how are we looking? Volume sounds good. Lighting looks good. Everything else looks good. ZBrush is moving around good. Let's just try a notification, see how that looks. Ooh, here we go. Okay. I see Twitch introduced a new... I use Twitch Studio, by the way. I don't think I'm going to be using it forever. I just have not had time to dive into Streamlabs. That's probably the software I'm going to go with, is Streamlabs OBS. But for right now, I'm using Twitch Studio. It's in beta. It's really quick and easy to set up, but it definitely has some limitations. So that's why I think eventually I will be moving to OBS. But I see that Twitch Studio introduced a new feature where you can draw. Like I'm drawing right now over the stream. That's so random. That's very slow. Okay, well, I don't like that. Clear drawing. You can make lines. Okay. You can erase part of it. Very interesting. I guess that's good if you're like commentating on a live game or something and you want to draw over the screen like they do in football and other sports. But we don't need that. Cool to see that they put it in there. I did get a Elgato capture card today, so I am waiting to go into game streams, but I'm very excited. Very excited to try it out, and I think I really just want to dive back into some retro games and play those and see if there's an audience for it, because I think about them a lot. The games of my youth, my childhood and stuff. That's, I don't know. I want to revisit some of them and see if they hold up. I might be surprised. Okay, so we're back on Venom again tonight. I was able to work on the gums a little bit. After the stream ended last night, I just took a quick stab at it. It's not too final. I really need to apply some detail to it, like really make it so where the teeth come out, that you can see like the teeth protruding through the gums and not just that the two are kind of clipping across one another. Yeah, tongue is still good. I'm not completely sold on it yet, but I like where it's at right now. Maybe if I move it, maybe if I move it out more like that. Let me close that. Okay. Yes, maybe if it's like this, a little more out, just a little more pointed towards like the head there, Yeah, I liked it up more. Okay. See, I'm still at an impasse. I don't know if I want to keep Eddie Brock coming out the left side, or if I really just want to make this a Venom piece. My fear is that by keeping Eddie, it just kind of throws the whole thing off, and it's not going to be executed as well. I know I could get this done faster if I just stuck to Venom. So that's, that would be interesting. And I think I could kind of get the same funny concept together if I threw an apron over Venom instead of putting Eddie coming out from the right side of his arm. So I don't know. The other issue too is that like Eddie Brock himself is not as visibly identifiable as Venom. So like, I might. I'm thinking about like a more a broader audience where, like who knows Venom, who knows who Eddie Brock is. If you say Venom, I'm sure people, like, oh yeah, I know that. It's that character. He's like got it's like all black with like the white eyes and the big tongue. You're like, yeah, that's Venom. Eddie Brock, the guy who is usually the host to the symbiote Venom. I don't think as many people, one, know his name, and two, if you had to describe what he looked like, even I probably would give you one version of many that has been displayed. And I feel like usually he has more like blonde hair, and sometimes he's buff, sometimes he's not. Like it's his interpretation is a lot more loose, I feel like, than Venom. So I don't know if I sculpt Eddie Brock here that it's going to be apparent to people that it's Eddie Brock. I think comic fans might know. Um, but yeah, I think even myself, I'm basically just sitting here talking myself out of doing Eddie Brock, which is like I don't want to because I really did like the concept in my head. But a part of this is, um, evaluating how things go and making decisions based on that, and not cornering yourself into something that isn't probably the best idea after seeing how it's being executed. Don't be stubborn, make smart decisions, and yeah, let things go when it makes sense, because eventually you're going to have to move on, and you're going to have to look back at the work you did on it, and it's better to feel like you made good decisions than yeah. Carhard Gaming, welcome back. Thanks for joining me on night 2. Yeah. All right, well, let me save a backup again. I doubt I'll go back and put Eddie back into the scene, but it could also be cool. You know what I could do is do a variant. Something I like the idea of doing is doing variants where there's a standard 3D print file where, let's say it's just Venom. He's got the apron. He's frying the frying pan with the head in it, and then maybe there's a variant where it's Eddie Brock's face revealed, and then I think that'll be a lot more apparent that it's the guy who's usually inside of Venom, and that could be like the variant that's a little harder to get a hold of, and maybe you have to be a subscriber or something to get access to that one. I'm still very much working out like the model of how do I get people this work. Is it just distributed through a 3D print farm, or not 3D print farm, like a 3D printing portal? So yeah. All right. So I saved that. Let me go back to the normal file. Save that. Oh, I can hear my baby girl downstairs crying. She's just got done with her bath. Yeah. 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 It's usually the face, that comes out. So that would be cool. It would be a lot less work too. Like for real. I would just have to basically do his head, and I think it would be cool to, kind of peel back Venom's face around Eddie Brock's head. So, yeah, let's do that. All right. So I'm going to just delete all of Eddie over here. Yes. I appreciate ZBrush asking me when I go to do changes like that. Are you sure you want to do it? Like, yeah, I do want to delete the whole folder of. Okay. So if I remember correctly, I didn't delete. Yes, I did not delete the left arm, which is good, because here I am not needing to redo it anymore. So should he be holding like a spice or something that he's shaking into it, or should he just have like a fork? I guess since he's still cooking it, it should be something a little more, or it could be a spatula. Could be. Let's see how the chest looks real quick, though. I mean, does that look okay? Let me get that hand out of there. I'm just looking on screen. So I definitely played with the chest a bit. I think I want to go in and reapply the symmetry there. Because I can see, I mean, I guess it's not bad. It doesn't need to, it doesn't look off. I think a part of me just feels weird that I added something back in, but the chest, the pectoral area, the top of the torso, has been modeled and modified based on the previous concept. Oh, look, his ear's sticking through the pan. I'll have to fix that. Okay, so back to the torso. I'm just gonna. Oh, you know what? I had saved that too. There it is. Okay. I love it when I don't have to go back and do a crazy amount of work. So let me just go ahead and delete that guy. Yes, I do want to delete it. Okay. I'm going to turn Venom and everything back to gray because right now it's a little hard. It's a challenging thing about this character is that I want to see him in the color that, he's going to be in, but modeling things that are very dark like this, it makes it really hard for me to see, all the seams and whatnot. And I'm going to be doing my old man, squint a lot more if I work in this dark gray color. Okay, so I wish I could just do it for, maybe I can just hide the head and that would be fine. Hide the teeth. And then I just go to Subtool Master and say fill all with this gray color. It's going to get that head too. Okay. So did it do? Awesome. So it only colors in what is actually visible. That's awesome. Because then I can just hide it and now I didn't lose the progress of the painting of the head. Which I also did a little bit more of today. Okay. Oh, I was not on the head. My mouth is so dry tonight. Sorry. All right. So let's move his. So I'm gonna have him have a spatula. I think that would kind of look funny. I like the idea of like it being a spice, but then I need the scannability of it to be good, meaning that when someone looks at it, if he's holding a spatula versus holding like some kind of spice container, what's going to be faster for them to understand, visually? Like you see a spatula and you know what it is. You've seen it. It's really not hard to understand what it is. Everyone knows what it is. It doesn't have a lot of other things that look like it, which, by the way, I just saw a TikTok video I don't know if it was on TikTok or Instagram, but one of those platforms. It was a video of a guy going into a grocery store and pointing out how everything that we call spatula was just called a turner. And yeah, it blew my mind about as much as the guy in the video. To me, like I've never heard it called that. I've never seen it called that. I've bought spatulas before. It probably said turner on it and I just totally ignored it. But to me, it's a spatula. I thought about it. I'm like, I should go to the grocery store today just to check it out. And we should test the people at the grocery store and like, hey, can you show me where the spatulas are? And then they can lead us to it and they'll point to it like, no, that's a turner. And they'll just be like, get out. Okay. Okay. Gonna turn his hand. So now I'm gonna pose the hand so that there's a spatula in it. So back to my reference. It's basically going to be the same exact thing. So you know what? I could just mirror the hand and use the same pose. It's really, it's like that or it's like that. Perfect. I'll just hide it in case I want to keep an unposed hand in my library. It's always good. Apparently I already have some, so I can just delete that guy. Okay. I'm going to mirror it, but I'm going to append it instead of merging it into the same subtool. That way it's on its own layer right there. Whoa. PastTub95, thank you for the follow. I think I need to bring that sound effect down. It scared me a bit. I was like, okay. I got to figure out which angle I want to render this guy at too, because that makes a difference. Like where his hand is, like I don't want it, in his face too much. Okay. Maybe turned a little bit more. What I'm going to have to do is jump back into Blender and I guess I could make a spatula in here. God, now I feel weird saying it, Like now that I've seen that video where they called it a turner, I feel weird and like uneducated by calling it a spatula. That's what it is. It's a spatula. Okay. So he's going to be holding it kind of like, might as well just keep this here. So he's holding the pan like this. And I think he'll be, I guess just holding it up, but I want to have it so that it's visible. So low, a little bit lower. Okay. So I'm going to bring his hand down because I want the spatula itself to be a little closer to the person's head. Make that smaller. I'm just putting a placeholder here right now. I'm not going to go in and do a full model because it's not necessary. I really want to focus on Venom and like all the extra stuff, like the frying pan. I'm going to go back in and make the frying pan over again because it's a little too soft. I want it to have a little more of a harder sharpness around the edges. Kind of looks like a soft kid's like play toy, like what they'd have if they had a kid's kitchen set. Okay. Where is that now? I'm like, where is the hand at? I was looking up here. It's right there. Okay. I'm going to hide the arm for a second so there's a little bit less visibly in my sight and I can focus on just posing the hand right now. God, it looks kind of funky. I will admit that it looks better over here, but over here it looks kind of like funky. So I'm going to have to fix that a little bit. Okay. Gonna have to turn it. You know what? Let me just real quick focus on making the wide part of the spatula. So I'll just go up here, go like that. And then trying to think what's the best way to, I guess I can just use the brush just to make the top a little bit wider. And then I'll just smooth it out. Whoa. Whoa. Okay. I'll make this longer. Bring that handle down more. Actually, I feel like I'm not. It does bother me when I have to look for reference of like really simple things that I, use and see every day. I don't use a spatula every day, but I certainly see one every day when I go downstairs into the kitchen and get coffee and stuff. Like it's right there next to the coffee machine. Okay, but That's good enough. It really is just a placeholder piece. I'll do a much better one in Blender. I just don't like doing like I guess it's called hard surface modeling in ZBrush. I really like using ZBrush for organic, but the tools that ZBrush has made, I know once I start really using them and getting used to it, that I'll probably be a lot more comfortable making things like a spatula in ZBrush. I certainly can make a spatula in ZBrush. It's just I want to work quickly, work smart. I don't want to waste people's time as they watch this, as I model really mundane, insignificant, pieces. I rather do it quickly so that it looks like we're making good progress. Okay. Maybe you can see. This is the part that's important for me. I need to see where the spatula is in terms of like the eye line for the viewer, to make sure that the greatest representation of this character portrait, is there. Like it's not, oh, there's, looks like there's a really cool, curved tongue going on. It looks like a really cool render, but there's a spatula in front of him. I can't see all of it. I guess that's pretty obvious to say, right? Hey, A Scar 23. I'm guessing that's Anthony. Okay. Yeah, I think that looks, the position of the hand there, I think looks okay. Maybe I'll move it out a little bit more so it doesn't look like his hand is right over the pan. I am just going to, I might merge that hand with the spatula so I can move these two quicker. Because right now I'm moving one and I gotta move the other, and I don't feel like doing that a million times. Okay, let's pose this arm. Oop. Here we go. Maybe something like, oops. Let me bring in the pivot up near the wrist. Okay. A 5-person queue, like there's 5 people ahead of you. I think that looks good. I actually don't really have to do too much with the hand or the wrist. Maybe I'll just move it down a little bit more. Move it out. Something like that. Just this little nugget floating in space. It's meant to be his elbow, so I can point it out a little bit more. Let's find that guy. Is this it? Nope. Is that it? Yes. Okay. So, A-Scar, when I first opened this up, everything actually was colored black, but, and I'll just show you actually, when modeling and moving things around, the contrast, there's some good contrast going on right now with the kind of internal lighting. I can see the lines a lot better, but when everything is black, which is good for me, in terms of look development to see like, okay, this has got a good, the tongue sticks out good on top of, the color black I have. It was harder just to see things in general. So let me hide that and that and that, and I will go back and turn everything to black. It's pretty quick to do. Where's my black color at? I actually don't think that's the right one. I think it was this dark gray one. Yeah. So I'm just going to fill everything the same black color. And I did it with no hands. Okay. Head, teeth, teeth. There we go. So yeah, now it's, that looks a lot more like Venom. But when I was going in and, looking at the hand and the spatula and stuff, and it just gets, it's harder for me to see, and I have to squint my eyes a lot more. And I'm trying not to do that on the stream because it looks like I close my eyes. I've watched the playbacks, and it's my own pet peeve, and I'm probably breaking the glass for a lot of people who wouldn't have noticed it, but a lot of people, because I got like a million people watching me right now. But if they ever go back and, other people in the future go back and watch this episode and they hear me talk about it, they'll be like, oh yeah, he does do that. I'm working on it. I am trying to also enunciate a lot better. I do have a tendency to mumble. Okay. All right. So I'm basically going to go back and turn everything back to gray again because I'm having a hard time seeing. Switch. No hands except for that. Just one hand. No hands down. Okay. Nice. Yeah, it's a microphone that my wife got me. It's a toner microphone. I've never heard of the brand, but it's pretty cool. It came with its own little what do they call it? Like little speaker guard, so it keeps the pops out and all that goodness. Okay. I am going to get audio, like music in future cast. Hopefully this weekend I can look into like what a good option is to get some like lo-fi, kind of like lo-fi girl radio beats in here. So I think it will also just help me feel a little more relaxed as I do this, because typically when I'm sculpting and whatnot, I have something on, whether it be a TV or, Spotify or a podcast. So it's actually kind of weird for me to work in an environment where I'm talking a lot and there's no music going on. Like I'm not going to say it's jarring, but it's definitely a big change. Okay. So I got the spatula, I got the hand. Trying to think what else there is to do. There's a lot to do, but I'm actually going to make a list. At a certain point, you start making a lot of mental notes as you 3D sculpt about things that you need to like proceed to do after you kind of start getting out of the blackout phase, so like, merging all the shapes and stuff. But then you also start making, little tiny notes in your head about this needs to be touched up a little bit, but I'm going to go do it down the line because it makes more sense to do it down the line. And then what happens is you get towards the end of the project and you kind of forget all the little tiny stuff you want to touch up. So it's a good time to bust out those notes and kind of go through all those changes you wanted to do earlier but forgot about. So you can't see my notepad right now, but I'm writing notes. So I want to fix the hands. They're not quite the way that I want them to look, especially his right hand, not right on my side. I want to change the pose of his legs because he's standing a little too front and center. Change pose of legs. I also want him to be maybe like more turned to the side just a little bit, so it's not like straight on. Maybe just kind of like, cooking and like looking at the camera a little bit more. Give him a little more of a dynamic pose. So I'm going to say turn his body a little bit. I got to redo the eyes are total placeholder. So redo. It's not that I hate it, but I definitely want to spend more time on the eyes. They're such an important part of the character. Got to work on the gums. So work on the teeth coming out. The guns. Oh, the gums, not the guns. Jesus. I should have like maybe some of the symbiote tentacles, tendrils, whatever it is, coming off of him a little bit, right? That's a very classic Venom thing. So tendrils coming out. I gotta look. Am I using the right word? What does tendrils mean? I hope it's something good. Okay. So tendril is, in botany, a tendril is a specialized stem, leaf, or petal, I don't know how to say that word, with a thread-like shape used by climbing plants for support and attachment. So yeah, I guess that's kind of accurate. I will keep using that word. And then I need to actually merge everything. Merge all shapes. That makes sense. Define muscles. The muscle, like adding the actual like lines and whatnot. I enjoy doing it when it goes well, but when it doesn't, I feel like I'm not an artist. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a total fraud. And then, of course, add the apron. So I guess with the apron, it's going to be covering up a large part of his chest. I should think of something funny that goes on that. Like Kiss the Cook is, the classic thing. Maybe it's like something along those lines. I don't know. You know what? I want to make the head in the frying pan a little more like alive, like his mouth is open, like open mouth of head in frying pan. I was thinking, like, I'm looking at the body, like, do I put nipples on it? Venom doesn't have nipples, right? No, that's a total like Joel Schumacher working on Batman 3 and 4 move. I always liked when Venom had like the white little rectangle on his wrist. It's like where he shot webs out of. I want to add those. Did I say wrist? I meant his upper hand. To hand. Okay. And then maybe also just, I don't think I really need to spend much time on the feet, but right now it does look like he's wearing shoes more than, I feel like Venom runs like barefoot, so define feet a little better so they don't look like shoes. Okay. So that's a solid list right there. So the first thing I have is fix hands. What do I actually want to focus on first? I think working on the tendrils coming out, because that is, I think, also a part of the blocking out phase. Like I need to make sure that like whatever is kind of reaching off of his body is not going to mess up with the silhouette of it. So let me look up some reference real quick. Sorry, I should be able to show my reference on screen, but I haven't set up an actual Twitch screen yet to show that. Venom comics. Let's just look up. This will be quick. I'm not actually seeing a lot of that. Interesting. A little bit. It's a pretty good one I'm looking at right now, and it looks almost like it's like lifting up, like almost like a particle. I kind of like that. I am going to save that reference. You know what? I'm going to bring it into ZBrush. It's been a while since I brought an actual reference into ZBrush, so okay. I kind of forget how to do it. Let me see, import. Where did I save it at? Right there. And then that guy. Did I do it right? Okay, here we go. There we go. So now you should be able to see the reference I was looking at. Let me check it out. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I really like get out of here. I forget how to turn off spotlight. There we go. I like the little bit of, I guess you would call it venom, right? Like the looks like toxic spit, whatever, coming out of his mouth. But yeah, the tendrils coming out right here. I like that they're defined really well. They have a nice kind of like movement to them that seems unified, but they also don't overdo it. Like his physicality is definitely still very prominent and the focus of it. It's just like you could take this away and it wouldn't lose anything. It really just adds to it. So I'm going to add some new stuff in here. I've never had to model something like this, and I guess it's to my benefit that it's kind of abstract. You know what? I don't know why I'm using that when I can use the curve brush that I used or just started using the other night. You lose track of time. When you got a full-time job, married, have a kid, you start to forget what you did from day to day. Okay. So, it was a curve brush. Oops. My bad. It wasn't curved flat. I need to bring this down into my brush library. Welcome back, Carhard Gaming. Okay, curve, alpha. That's not it. Sorry. That feels like unprofessional. I never use this brush. It's not very often to do characters that have long, curvy, shapes to them like that. Oh my god, I'm sorry, I'm having such a hard time finding it. Where are you? I swear to god, I just had it the other day. It works like that, but that's not it. It's not curved flat. Okay, so that's a hair one. You can certainly unsub, but you have to sub first. So, I still get that sub though. Is it just this guy right here? I guess that works. That wasn't the same one, but I'll take it because it's gonna let me add multiples to it. So win-win. I'm gonna add like a big one to his back. Oh, apparently not. Here we go. Maybe not as long. Here we go. Ah, get out of there. All right, I think I added too many, to be honest. If I'm being honest, maybe like that. Okay. I do kind of like the idea of like these showing like his excitement. Like, you know, Venom responds emotionally with how the symbiote, you know, suit, so to speak, you know, like moves and whatnot. So I like with this reference shot that, you know, it shows that it's a very intense, you know, the venom tendrils, whatever it is, coming off of him adds, you know, to the emotion of that he's showing, which looks like here excitement or just sheer intensity. Okay. I don't even know what the hell that was attached to. Okay. I'm gonna save right here because I might. I'm about to do something that might accidentally overwrite everything I've done. So if I can find the folder. I recently did like a Mac cleanup on my computer, and it kind of moved some things around in areas that like I don't know why. It's so random. Okay, here we go. I like how big the emblem is on Venom's chest versus Spider-Man's. Like Spider-Man's, it's sometimes very big, but it's still very central. Whereas like Venom's, it's like fully across. So like it really does take up a lot of space. I think I like that because it makes it look like he's not just a carbon copy, you know, roided up version of Spider-Man. He's like he's in the same family, but not the same, you know, character. Not just like a Mrs. Pac-Man of, you know, rip-off type character. Okay. Yeah, so I wanted to. Yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen. All right, so I guess I just have to maybe dynamesh these guys. I don't know how to like finalize. Maybe I'll just duplicate it. Mm? Oh, okay, there we go. What is going on? It's not letting me edit it. This is really weird. Huh. There we go. Still not working right. Okay. I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to smooth out the tentacles a bit, but it's like not letting me do it at all. Like something's up with my I'm encountering a bug. Let's go to something else. Okay. So that works. I don't think smooth is working for me at all right now. You know what it was? When I was probably choosing a new brush, it might have overwritten smooth alt. What is smooth alt? Whoa. Yeah, I definitely need to turn that sound effect down. Thank you, Acar, for the follow. I appreciate it. It's awesome. Okay. Is this the head that I have? Okay, so if I smooth, this should definitely smooth out. If I, yeah, something's up. I might have just, I just might have to reset it. Okay. What the heck, man? It says it's being selected too. That's the weird thing, is it shows up there, but I'm not sure. Sorry about this weird bug I'm encountering. It does happen. Custom interface. Let's see if I just reload it. Still the same. Okay. So let's just jump to chatting for a second and save. I'm going to close ZBrush and reopen it. I didn't turn my light on today. How dare I? I did not dress this set accordingly. My office is a mess, but it will get a lot better. I figured it was more important to start doing this than get everything perfectly right and, you know, just get it going. Okay. Closing that. Opening it back up. It's going to take a second. Ooh. Okay. Where is it? Yes. Capture. Okay. We're back in business. And we have our smoothing back. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Weird bug. Yeah. There we go. Okay. That's not the brush I want. I just felt myself do the like. It's like I'm playing against myself, you know? Let's inflate some of it. Oh, I gotta get my reference back in here. Okay, so let me load that Venom back in and add to Spotlight. There we go. Very intense. Okay. Now he has like some of the parts like start as 2 and then join to 1, so I should probably, I really like how that looks, so I should probably do something like that too. Oh my god, are you kidding me? Maybe it's the Spotlight. Maybe that's what's doing it, because it just aired out again. That sucks. Yeah, I think for some reason the Spotlight feature in here is killing my that's so random. So maybe I just go in and turn off Spotlight. Shift Z, okay. That's so random. All right, so I'm doing something wrong, but finally got into the new world to be thrown into the middle of a war still going on from yesterday. Nice. I mean, I guess they do typically last like a day or two, right? Like real wars. All right, so I guess I'll just bring up this Venom when I want to see it all. But for right now, I need to turn off the reference because it's for some reason throwing off my. There's something I'm missing. There's some kind of shortcut that would allow me to typically have the Spotlight open and still be able to use my smooth brush. I'm not sure why one is conflicting with the other, but it's not normal. Okay. Let's get it done. I should use the elastic brush more because that's going to give me more. I thought it was. There we go. I don't know what the heck it was doing with this other one. Let me remesh it some more. So when I use Dynamesh, I just drag like this, and you can see it basically retopologizes the mesh. So if I was like stretching it out a lot, basically, you can see that I'm really stretching the amount of polygons, not really polygons, like faces, on this mesh. But if I use Dynamesh, now it's basically added an equal amount of faces back to that mesh. So that's why I use that command a lot. You probably noticed that it was smoothing it out a little bit, but what's really happening is that I'm stretching an object out, stretching how many faces it has on it or polygons, and eventually it's going to hit its limit. So I add more geometry to it so it doesn't look so stretched out. Okay. I think that was one of the reasons why that one wasn't stretching very well. I gotta get rid of that hand, focus on. Okay. Okay. It's a little long. I want them to be smaller. So I just added every individual mesh into a new group. So it's called polygrouping, and I'm going to hit auto groups, which basically just looks at all the different objects that are independent of one another and then applies them into its own individual group, which you can see here by the colors that have been applied to them. And what that lets me do basically is I can now go in and select individual groups like that. The rest disappear, or I can basically unhide it, and it hides the individual group I had just selected and then hides all the other ones. With that, I can then like mask it, unhide it. Now I can basically move this around without having to worry about anything else on the screen being affected by the brush movement. Or in this case, I can basically just make it smaller. That's what I want to do. I don't want to make them too big. Like I said, this is basically blocking still. And I want to make sure that these like little tendril things that are coming out of him don't really take over the scene too much. Wow. Apparently this session has run already for 52 minutes, and that just seems crazy to me. I mean, I had a countdown timer for only about 5 minutes today because I was rushing to get up here. Okay. I think I need to get rid of this one. It just looks too random. So I am just going to hide that part and delete it. There we go. I think I'll move this guy over more. There. Okay. Oh, I didn't style these guys at all yet over here. They're off looking like Cheetos or something. All right. I am going to smooth out this muscle on my left-hand side because the blockiness of it is starting to get to me. Like everything else is looking a lot smoother, and it doesn't really matter right now that it's blocky, but sometimes you just want things to look good for yourself. I would say most of the time, actually. Where is it though? There it is. That's the arm. Oh, didn't need to be that much. Bring it down a little bit. Just smooth it all the way around. Okay. There's a lot floating around right now. And I'm going to do the same thing for this. Oop, higher. Okay. Yeah, it's starting to get to me a little bit. Back to the little spiky things. Like, I kind of like that one of them is bigger, but it does feel like it's throwing it off still. I think maybe I just need to make the ends of them really sharp. I think I hear my wife listening to the last episode of 9 Perfect Strangers. I really want to watch the rest of that show. I watched a part of it with her and I dug it. It was pretty good. Yeah, I hear the opening credits. If anyone's in chat, tell me if you watch any good shows lately, because there's been so many good ones on or coming out that I'm having a hard time picking out which ones to watch. And I assume I'm going to be watching something this weekend, so. Hacks. Oh yeah, didn't the lead actress got she won the Emmy, right? For best lead actress or was it lead actress or just like lead actor? I do want to watch that, especially after they won the Emmy for it. Okay. Let me move this up a bit. All right, so it's not quite that look, I think, again, because it's very uniform in the shape. Like, it starts off thick and then goes, much thinner at the top. So I think I need to, kind of play with that a little bit. Lead actors in a comedy series. That's right. They separate. Let me close some apps in here. I forgot that's. I forgot I had a lot of stuff open still. It's probably like killing my frame rate or something. Sorry. Okay. I don't need Chrome open, that's for sure. Okay. Sorry about that. So is it just about her character? Like, is it a ensemble? Like where it's multiple people, like in Hollywood. It's like about an older actress, right? And she's still navigating her career or something, or she's like a veteran. But I don't know why I'm trying to guess what this show's about. I should also move this guy like in a different direction. Ooh, you know what? Easier ways to do it than what I was doing. There we go. That's right. I think I saw something about her getting like a 1,000+ like show residency or something in like the trailer, which is like, it's crazy to think that's how many days they agree to do. Like, that's wild. I mean, I know they get a crap ton of money, but that's a lot of days to agree to show up to work consistently. I mean, I guess we all do it anyway, right? But what's it like when you take a sick day and you have a Vegas residency, you know? It's like, oh, Brittany couldn't come out tonight, sorry. I think that guy's fine. Ah, itch. Okay. All right. I don't love it. I think it might look better once it's rendered, you know? I'm going to try and shrink all of them. So it's a little thinner, but yeah, that's what I thought. Not quite. Okay. Let me save it real quick. I'm just going to add this guy right to the top of my favorites folder. Saving. So there's a, you can't really see it in my application now because I'm covering it, but I'm going to bring it, oh, that's not it. I'm going to try and show the menu that I'm using. If I bring it in more, there it is, okay. So this is part of the application that you don't really get to see because I don't crop it out like intentionally as if I don't want you to see it. I just feel like it's not really important. I'd rather show more of the canvas that I'm working on. But there's a feature in here in the deformation palette that's called Inflate Balloon. It's useful, but it's also incredibly buggy. And the reason I saved is because sometimes when you use it, it just crashes the program. So you're really rolling the dice every time you use it. So I'm going to try and use it now and see how it does. Because I want to shrink them in a little bit, but not... I wish it was more respectful of the... Okay, so that's on that axis. By the way, like, look how small these options are. You still can't see it, sorry. Let me just try and bring it in more. Okay, so you can kind of see it right now up near where skew is. You can see X, Y, and Z. I don't know if you can see my mouse. Yeah, it's so small. Like, how... I wish I could give a consultation to the UI design team over at Pixelogic, because that stuff is wild. That's wild that it's 2021 and people are still making like pixel-sized, text inside their GUIs. And that is that's my complaining about ZBrush for the night. I feel like I've done pretty good so far. Yesterday I was on ZBrush a lot more, but it was more of like an introduction of like, here are the things that I have issues with that I wish were better in this amazing program. Okay. I wonder if there is a gizmo just to kind of shrink everything. I think so. This looks like it's a... Yeah, okay, so that's... I want it more on an individual island level. I know Blender can do it really well, but I've never done it inside of ZBrush. Inflate, that's not what I'm looking for. I don't see it. I think it would have been this one scale if that was going to do it. And maybe it still does, but not in the way that I need it to do right now. Okay. I'm going to move back to doing the arm. Let's make a new folder for this guy. Move that up. Delete that. Yes, please. Oof. Forgot that guy was still hanging around. Move that away. Okay. Yeah, I think once I get this model into Blender and I start applying some like materials to it, I think it's going to look a lot better with the like little bits and parts of him that are kind of poking out, because it will look a lot more like it's all part of his body. Right now, it just looks like they're kind of stuck onto him like leeches, and that's, I think, what's bothering me so much. Once it's merged onto the actual body and everything is like one piece, basically, I think it'll look a lot better. So I'm going to keep it, but I'm not married to it. If I don't like it, I'll move on from it, and, you know, it's just not going to be a part of this one. The other thing I got to think about, too, is that if I'm 3D printing this, if I'm offering this up for people to 3D print, a lot of this stuff, I'm making some very hard to print pieces, because this is going to be very like narrow, like this right here, like this little area. That's probably going to break off. Like just handling that, you know, I can imagine just picking that up and accidentally, you know, hitting it with your thumb or something, and it snaps off, and you don't really want to make, you know, a 3D print file that way. So, like I said, there's reasons to keep it. Could look good. Might get rid of it for the 3D print file, but we'll see. Or I can just maybe beef up some of the other parts of it. All right, so let's focus on the hand again. I am going to separate that out. Split hidden. There we go. I got my hand on a different layer now. Okay. And I'm going to hide everything else except for the hand folder, because I want to get a clean view of just what's going on here with this pose. Hide that. Hide this dude. That. Okay. All right, so let's start selecting all of this index finger. Oops. Right now, I just want to move it out a little bit more, because it just looks like the index finger is too far in. Always lose track of this guy. I mean, it's the opposite. The index finger comes out more in front of the first and second knuckle of the middle finger. So I should really have it like, let me do this over. I should have this part of the finger come out like that. And then the second part right there, I should probably learn what this part, you know, like what all this is in anatomy, but yeah, then that's what starts wrapping around the spatula. And I can move the spatula closer to that finger. It doesn't have to stay there if it's not working out well. Blender in comparison to ZBrush is really the industry standard for digital sculpting. I believe that's because just the brushes and the way it handles the mesh, you can, well, okay. So the brushes I feel like are a lot better, and that's, you know, you can digitally sculpt in Blender, but I just feel like the way that the brushes handle the mesh, it just feels a lot better. It's like, I feel like for me going to like, you know, an art and craft store, and, you know, you can buy the busted, you know, set of brushes for like $10, and it comes with like 50 brushes in a little plastic pack, or you can go spend $50 on like one brush. You know, I feel like ZBrush out of the box has a way better set of brushes, so that's nice. And again, that's not to say that like Blender, you know, has busted sculpting tools, but it's just better. But the big thing is how it handles really high density meshes. I think the way that ZBrush is built, it renders really high density meshes only based on. I think I heard it's like it only renders what you're seeing front on. Everything else it hides. Whereas I think Blender and other tools, I believe that they don't do that. So like even the stuff that you're not seeing is being rendered by the computer, so it can't handle uh, denser, higher quality meshes. And if I had to guess, the reason for that is because ZBrush is really only made to sculpt. It doesn't really have a good rendering system in it. It doesn't do a lot of the things that Blender does. Like Blender, you can full on like make a movie in Blender because it has compositors, it has scene editors, it has all these different tools and ways to build scenes and movies. Like really, so it's used much more as like a kind of all-in-one suite of tools. But if you want to sculpt really well, it's you can do it in Blender. I started sculpting in Blender first before I moved on to ZBrush. But you start to hit walls when you're making complex models, and even for what I'm doing right now, once I start really detailing this model, I'm going to need to bump up the amount of geometry that is applied across, to the entire body, and it would throttle my computer if I was in Blender, and I'm on like a new MacBook Pro, so um, yeah. But I take it once it's done into Blender, and it takes forever to import the file, and then I had to apply the materials, and it's all slow, but eventually, it all comes together. Um, it's just yeah, ZBrush is for all that you run up against using ZBrush, all the issues that you have with it, it's still just it's so much quicker and faster to use once you get a hold of the way that it works. Because there's a lot of different. It changes the terminology of things for no reason. I don't understand why. It's like ZBrush was like, no, we're different than our software. It's like, yeah, but you didn't have to call everything different. Like they call instead of calling everything in this folder like an object or a mesh, they call it a subtool. And so it makes when you first start learning ZBrush a lot harder to learn because Googling, how to do something in ZBrush is really hard because all the terminology is different from what you're used to. Like saying like, how do you edit, an object? Well, an object in ZBrush is very different from an object in most other 3D tools. So it makes it a little bit harder to learn, but it's, we're very fortunate. I'm very fortunate to live in the age that we do now where, if you have the time, you can pretty much just go to YouTube and type in what you're looking to do or watch someone else do it and learn it, pick it up pretty quickly. So, okay. Where isn't that finger? Where'd that finger go? Oh, I'm looking at it. But I'm on the wrong hand. There we go. I knew something was off. Okay, turn that out a little bit more. All right. Kind of like that. Again, I like the scale of it. Like he's a big guy, he's not our size. He's like way bigger. He's very Hulk in size. Um, so I like that almost like how he's holding things feels like he's being very delicate with it because it's like way smaller you know, than what should proportionally be, he should be using for someone his size. Let's turn everything else back on. Look at all those teeth. I can just keep that on to turn the legs back on for now. I think I want to turn just the hand and the spatula a little bit, like that. Yeah, I think that looks better. Okay. Save it. Takes a while to save. Okay, so that hand looks better. I'm not saying it looks perfect, but it looks better. Let's just fix this knuckle real quick. That's bothering me. Whoa. Okay. So what will happen is, right now all the pieces of the hand are separate. That way it allows me to pose them really quickly because I can just grab a part of it and move it around and not have to really worry about isolating the rest of the hand. Eventually I'll fuse all the parts together, and at that point I'm kind of locking myself into, the pose, or just that the fact the hand is a lot stricter in terms of how I can move things. It doesn't make it impossible by any means. It's just, it takes longer to make quick fixes to it. So that's why it's all still very separated from all the different knuckles and parts of the finger. Okay. Move his hand out a little bit more like that. Okay. I'm actually going to do a test of that. I would like to see what it looks like once I smooth. Ooh. Yeah, I got to bump that up. What I should do is I should merge all the individual finger parts themselves first, and then focus on smoothing that out. And then once all the fingers individually look good, then I can merge it to the base of the hand. Because right now, you see what happened is that I merged it, but it basically webbed the fingers because these two parts were so close in touching that it just thought like, oh, those two parts are touching, weld them together. But I'm curious just to take a look at this and see, how does the hand look like once it's all smoothed out? Like, is it good? Does it look kind of janky? Smooth, smooth, smooth. Yeah, see the pinky there too. And this is not uncommon. Like, if you get a toy, and I don't have any pops around me, but if you get like small figures and you look at their hands, if they're making a pose, usually it's actually like, there's not actually individual fingers there. It's just sculpted to look like there's fingers there, but it's really just a solid block. So it's not uncommon. It's not, in my opinion, a bad thing to do, but you want that to be invisible. You don't want it to be noticed, that there's webbing and, all this. So it's kind of like something you want to be the last thing that you do. It's like, okay, I'm making the jump here. I'm going to finalize this and make it like one solid mesh. Am I happy with where everything is? Because if I was to try and break out these fingers from one another again, it would take way too much time. It would be a giant waste of time, really. Move that knuckle out a little bit. Right now, I am kind of getting a little ahead of myself because I don't need to do this. I just want to see it. I like to think that at moments like this, when I'm doing something that is kind of a waste of time in this moment, because I'm just going to, Control Z it or go back, it's not actually a waste of time. I am providing inspiration to myself by saying, okay, what does this look like kind of done? Is this heading in the right direction? Yes, I kind of like it. What do you think? I think it looks good. It'll look better once it has some better materials on it. Smooth that out. That looked a little silly. And again, don't worry about things that aren't going to be seen, such as like I could work on the inside of the hand here, but no one's going to see it. So I'm just focusing on what is seen. And right now it's just the outside of the hand and how he's holding the spatula. Does that look like it makes sense? Does it look like it's correct? I think so. So I'm cool with that. Now I'm going to delete it. I'm going to take a screenshot first. Delete that hand. Show the older one again. I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. I think it's fine, but I want to see the same thing. I want to see, does it look good smoothed? I'm not even going to spend as much time on that one. I'm like, okay. I think I need to do the same thing where I move that index finger out a little bit more. It looks, I don't know why, but for some reason on this, in this area, it doesn't look as off to me as it did when he was holding the spatula, even though it's the same exact model. Oh, thank you, Jace. I appreciate it. Oh, I was wondering what I was doing there. Okay. Move that out a little bit more. Okay. I'm going to have to turn that finger a bit. Not quite. Not quite. Okay. I need to move this back up a little bit. Get out of here, autosave. Autosave reminds me of my cat. It's like I appreciate it, except for when it wants my attention and wants to do something, and I'm like, get out of here, I'm busy. Don't bother me right now. Okay. Ooh. Sorry, I'm jumping all over the place. I hope that's not too like distracting or, I don't know, nauseating. Okay. I think that's... This is my desk cleaner, by the way. If you keep wondering what I'm holding, it's yeah. I just take the hose, or not the hose, what do you call it, the brush part off. Okay. Holding it like that. Is that front knuckle coming out from... All right, so I didn't do it right. I'm going to turn off the rest of this mesh because it's getting in front of my eyes and making it harder for me to see. Get out of here. Okay, so that. And then... Oh, my bad. So I need this guy and that guy. I can mask the rest. Okay. The rotation of his fingers are a little off, particularly this one. So I'll turn that. Turn it a little bit more. Okay, there we go. I still have some fixes to do, but I think that looks maybe a little. Let me fix that knuckle too. Someone like screaming outside. Okay. Cool. I think that looks a lot better. Let's bring it back into view here. Oops. Turn everything back on. And I need to turn the frying pan because it's not quite at the right angle right now. There we go. Actually, that looks better. It's like centered more. That's another thing I need to learn to stop doing is cracking my knuckles. Unless that's something that people on Twitch like. I don't know. Is that like an ASMR thing? Okay. Legs, turn that back on. Tendrils. Go in here and delete this one piece right there. Hide, delete. Here we go. Save. All right, so it's almost 9. I'm going to take a quick break just so I can stretch my legs for a second and maybe run and go get some more water. So I will be back in like 5 minutes. Okay. Hello, I am back. I think everyone here already has some, but if you're new, here's the daily stream reminder that if you follow me and email me at hello@notrealtoys.com with your follower name, your real name, and your address, I will mail you these stickers. They're metallic, the Not Real Toys logo. So there you go. Get some free stickers. Okay, let's get back to it. All right, so I think I'll focus on the Bozo's head. That's what we're calling him. Calling him Bozo. Makes it feel a lot more PG-13, I guess, when you call him Bozo. Okay, I'm moving this folder back down here. And that's the guy's face. I basically just want to make his mouth open like oh, you know, like he's very much alive and appalled that he's about to become a snack. Oops, turn that back off. So I very much rushed through doing this model yesterday, and this is I'm not gonna say I'm regretting it because you can't make all the right choices. You don't know how things are gonna go, but if I knew that I was going to play with the way his mouth looked yesterday more today, I would have grouped parts of his face a little bit better. Right now it's all yellow because it's all one giant group, but like if I masked part of it and then did group mask, now you can see that there's these different islands on his head and I can isolate those and like warp it. Now he's got or I can just say mask that part and then unhide all the other parts, and so you can do a bunch of cool stuff in ZBrush. That's one of the big things I love about it, is that its ability to isolate and allow you to isolate rather different parts of your models and meshes and stuff. It's possible in Blender and other 3D programs, but ZBrush just, I feel like, does it a little bit more intelligently. So I would have taken his mouth yesterday and made it its own group. Just turn off the lines there. So I'm going to group that. And that just allows me basically to mask that part real quick while really messing with the rest of it, not having to worry about, am I messing up the top of his mouth while trying to modify the bottom. Actually, group visible. I'm going to group it all again. And every time you group it, it turns it a different color. So right now I'm just hitting auto group, auto group, auto group. It's just turning it a different color. It's still all one group right now because I just merged it all into one group. Okay. I don't know why the color wasn't on for that. Doesn't matter. I heard the new Venom movie coming out, by the way, is very good. There has been a bunch of social reactions online. I guess whatever embargo they had coming, that there was a tied to the movie for all the critics and whatnot that got to see it early. I think that all lifted now. And from what I've been reading, it's better than the first one. It's more bonkers, but like in a good way. So I'm hyped. I really want to see it. I think it comes out. Does it come out tomorrow or tonight? Let me see. Venom, Let There Be Carnage. When does it come out? Oh, yeah. It comes out tonight. I guess it's already in theaters right now. So it comes out officially tomorrow, but anytime a movie comes out Friday, they do early screenings the night before, so I could have gone and seen it today. But I'm here with you, sculpting, having a better time. Thanks for being here with me. Yeah, I definitely think that's going to be a plan. I took some time off, by the way, Friday till Tuesday, so we definitely have some time in there. I want to see Shang-Chi. I heard that was really good too, and I haven't seen it. Like, it feels weird to me that I'm not seeing Marvel movies in the theater anymore. I didn't see Black Widow at all. I want to see it. I wasn't like that hyped to see it, but like I love those movies. I like have been seeing them since Iron Man 1 came out in theater, and I remember being at the theater and being hyped for it. Like it's a tradition. So, I didn't see Black Widow in theater. I don't feel bad about that because Disney botched that up to begin with. I don't know if you've heard about the whole lawsuit going on with Scarlett Johansson and Disney, but apparently there were some issues that they didn't. I don't know if they brought it to theater. I think what it was is they had it in theater, but they brought it to Disney Plus um, the same day, and I think that hurt its like box office sales. Okay, he's got a big enough open mouth now. I think that's actually okay. Yeah, it doesn't need to be much more complex than that. Ooh. Yeah, so like a lot of these stars, especially someone like Scarlett Johansson, who like stars aren't really as big of a box office draw as they used to be, but there is still like a tiny little island of them, like a Tom Cruise or like a Robert Downey Jr. Although I shouldn't say Robert Downey Jr. because he came out with that Doolittle movie and I think it flopped. Um, the Rock, stars like that. That still their name is enough to get people interested in it. The trailer still has to sell them, but if you hear The Rock is going to be in a new movie, you're like, I at least want to see that trailer. Um, I think Scarlett Johansson is another one of those actors, or sorry, actresses. And yeah, there's just not a lot of people to do that. So for sure, her and other people of her caliber, they negotiate these deals where basically they get a cut of the box office. So when Disney decided not to have it in the exclusively in theaters, that really messed up their end of it. And from what I also hear is that her team tried to work with Disney about coming up with a solution so that they wouldn't get sued for it. And there's a new president over at Disney, and he apparently was like, I don't have time to deal with this right now. Talk to my people or something, and really hurt the relationship between Scarlett Johansson's camp and Disney. So it's apparently a bit bitter, but whatever. Everyone's still rich over there, right? I should add teeth to this guy, right? I thought about maybe adding like a tongue coming out of his mouth too, but I feel like that's. I'm gonna say it. It sounds weird. I acknowledge it that it sounds weird, but that's too much tongue for this scene. Venom already has a very big tongue. I don't need another one. Like, it's too much. It's too much. I think it would be fun to work a bit on like character development for a studio, like for like a AAA game or something, and just hear the feedback that people get when they're designing characters. Like I can just imagine like sending this in for review, and people are like, his butt's too flat. Like, oh yeah, I really do need to work on Venom's butt. It is too flat. Yeah, you probably would have a much, you'd probably have like one of those Pixar mom butts, right? Okay. Let me. I'm jumping all over the place. I think I heard that Shang-Chi also surpassed, was it Black Widow, or was it, yeah, I think it surpassed Black Widow for like highest box office gross, which I think probably would infuriate the Scarlett Johansson's camp even more. It's like, see, if you just put it in theaters, people would have gone and seen it. Like, like instead, you put it on Disney Plus and no one saw it because it cheapened the product. I think what streaming is now is it's not going to be the same way in the future. I think Netflix and a bunch of other of the streaming companies are really going to start going to do like the weekly distribution of individual episodes, because Disney's not about it. They're putting shows out on Disney Plus and they're doing episodes weekly, and people are tuning in. And it's just making it so that their subscriptions, are held on to for longer. So it's working for them. Like, yeah, like why wouldn't they? I mean, they could probably chop up the episodes even more. Like, you get a half episode this week and then another half next week. We're just gonna. I think that was an idea for a service, wasn't it? Was it Quibi or something? I guess it's already been tried and failed. All right, I'm messing around right now. I need to hide that, delete, close. Okay. Just making some basic teeth here. Okay. I guess I should I can just duplicate the teeth and flip it with a turner, not a spatula, apparently. Okay. That looks cool. I like these bald. I don't know why. I guess I like that it's bald because I didn't have to model hair for it. Okay. You know what? I want to work on his eyes because I actually really like doing the eyes. So let's make his head flesh colored. Oh, that didn't work. That's weird too. So I use the system color picker, and when I open it, it doesn't show up in the stream. So you can't even see that I'm like choosing colors right now. It just changes for you guys. It's so weird, like what it decides not to show. I guess anything that's technically not ZBrush. So the color picker itself is, I guess, like a utility within Mac, and ZBrush just utilizes it. But as a result, you don't get to see that when it pops up. Weird. Also, why did that happen? What the heck? There we go. All right, let's make the teeth white. Teeth white. I think those are the teeth, or those the eyebrows. Make the neck peach colored. Sweet Sour Schnitzel, thank you so much for the follow. Okay. Oh yeah, and I want to work on the eyes. There we go. Everything there. Okay. So I actually have, what I do is I have a texture that I use for the eyes. I made in Photoshop, and I just load that in. Let me import it. Okay. So here it is. And I just kind of, whoops, I gotta turn the right brush setting on. Drag, oh, not quite, focus, down, something like that. Maybe a little bit closer. You know what I should do is I should have him looking up like that. Because I'm going to turn his head, so I want him to be kind of like looking back like, ah, like he's still very awake and aware. You know what I could have done? I could have put like Deadpool's head in this or something, right? They're both Marvel characters, and that would have made a little more sense in the context that like the head is, you know, still very much alive and responsive. But I don't feel like doing Deadpool right now. If I'm going to do Deadpool, I'm going to do Deadpool as a whole character portrait. Okay. Let's just go ahead and paint the inside of his mouth. So, whoop. Whoops. Not that either. So it's a little darker. I just want a really good look depth on this character because I really don't want to spend too much time on them. So if I'm working on it right now, let me just kind of like, you know, wrap that part up. Okay. Carhartt Gaming, I got a capture card. I don't know if you heard this earlier, but I got a capture card by Elgato. So I'm going to get that hooked up. And then I think one of the first games I maybe want to play is like a Mario game from, maybe I'll play like Super Mario Sunshine or something on my GameCube. Got my Wavebird controller. I don't, who knows if it works. It's been sitting in boxes for like the last 10 years. Yeah. I got my first ever video game console. Very proud of this. I got a job at McDonald's when I was 14 years old so I could buy it, and I got it with my first paycheck. That and Resident Evil 1 Remake. What a great console. I mean, look at this. It's a fashion statement. It's a weapon. You could probably use it to like hammer in nails or something. Oh my god, me too. I wish Time Splitters. I wish they came out with a new one. Like what? Like how come they haven't? Right? Like what an amazing game that is. Now like online competitive play is like ruling, dominating. You know, like Twitch and all these other platforms and stuff. Like how are they not taking that IP and revitalize it? I think people would lose their minds for it. You know. I don't think I have that game, but you know, if I ordered it right now, I could probably get it. I could probably get it by the time you come to visit. I have the Wii also because I think they made. Did they make a Time Splitters 3 for Wii, or was that for just for GameCube or PlayStation? They bought the rights to it, but they haven't done anything with it yet. Interesting. Like, how much did they pay for that? And they just let it sit? What the heck? Hand it over. I'll do something with it. I feel like this guy could be in Time Splitters. He has kind of like a cartoony, you know, Time Splitters vibe to him. Such a good game. I remember playing, was it Virus was the one that we loved playing the most, where like you just kept trying to like not run away from other characters who were like on fire with like this green flame or something. It was so much fun. Time Splitters 2 and Left 4 Dead, I think, are by far my favorite like co-op gaming experience. Just so much fun. Okay. Let me position this guy's eyebrow. Like that arm is so itchy tonight. Sorry, I keep scratching it. Okay. All right, so I'm going to merge this guy again. I'm going to delete that head down there. And I am just going to put him back onto the frying pan. God, now that I mentioned I want to do, it would be cool to do Deadpool in this. Like, damn, I really want to do it. But again, if I do Deadpool, I really want to do Deadpool as like a character portrait because I could have so much fun with that character. You know, like he really doesn't have, you know, any guardrails as to like what he can can and will not do. Like I was at the comic book store today in town, and they have the Funko Pops, and I swear to God, it's like a whole wall of just Deadpool Funkos. Like Funko has gone off with the Deadpool IP, and I guess it sells well. I guess there's a lot of Deadpool Funko collectors. All right, so that's the. I think I need to move his eyes back more. Ooh. Let me just auto group everything. Boom, boom. Okay, so now I want to hide. Oops. That, and then group visible. Whew. It is a dance sometimes to group, though. I have to say, like, sometimes you're like, okay, if I want to group these two, but they're in a giant collection of other subtools, what's the exact method? Okay, I have to hide it, mask the rest, hide what's masked, unhide what's masked. It's like, ooh, it's like you feel like you're casting a spell. Okay, there we go. So stupid. Okay, so I'm doing this basically so I can paint the eyes again, because while it looked okay, it didn't look like he was looking back up at Venom, and that's what I wanted. Something more like that, I think that looks better. Cool. Should his head can be smaller now. What do you guys think of this concept, like the head part? Like, I don't know. Is it funny? Is it just more kind of morbid? Like, he eats people, right? Like, that's what he does. Okay, good. I only need one person. Everyone else can mind the business. But please don't leave the stream. I need you. Okay. Let me save. Making progress. I like it. I like that we moved away from having Eddie Brock coming out of him. I think it's going to make it, even just from a balance standpoint, like when this goes to 3D print, I'm not going to be as worried as much about like how the weight distribution is for the model. Like where, okay, we have Eddie Brock coming out from this side, so he's going to tip over. So I got to think of how I can, do I just put him on a base or something? I mean, I probably still will have to put him on a base, but it will look a lot more equal in terms of like how he's standing in the center of it. I won't have to like position Venom a little further to the right or something. Okay. It might be time to start merging these pieces together. I don't see a lot of other things that I need to do. Let me look at my list. That's why I made it, right? Tendrils coming out. We did that. Fix hands. We did that. Change the pose of the legs. I think that kind of goes with changing the whole perspective of this character. Although now that I have the frying pan more in the center, I kind of like the facing forward, like straight on perspective. So if I turn it more this way, wow, it's crazy how much like when I have it straight on, he looks big, but when I change the angle just a little bit, he looks way bigger, right? I think it's because his muscle is it's like it's moving closer to the camera, and so it just makes it look way too like huge. Let me turn on perspective a bit. That's one thing in ZBrush is that I often forget that I'm not sculpting in perspective mode, which is I feel like what you should be doing it in, because it's important to see how this character is going to look from a close-up angle to a far away angle. When you have it in like orthographic mode, it really just looks the same no matter how close you get to it, but it never seems to be an issue. Like if I accidentally forget, so unprofessional. to put it in orthographic mode and then I sculpt the whole time and port it over to Blender, like it doesn't really ever seem to be like things look that different. But when I would do the same thing in Blender, if I forgot I feel like it's actually a lot harder to forget that in Blender. But when I first started working, like things looks like night and day different. Like I would have it in orthographic mode and I would change it to perspective mode and I'd be like, oh my God, this totally changes the look of the character. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So change the pose of the legs. I'm going to put a pause on that. Turn the body a little bit. Redo the eyes. I could do that. Merge all the shapes, define muscles. The apron is going to be one of the last things I put on. I might actually just do that in Blender because I can use better cloth. Well, ZBrush actually has cloth physics in it, but I've tried it. I don't like it as much. I much rather prefer a more like the way that Blender does it. I guess is what I'm trying to say. And then I have add white. Oh yeah, the rectangles to the hands. I'll do that after I merge the hands. Define the feet a little bit better. All right, I can do that. The feet look like shoes. I want to just have it so they look a little more like he has like claw feet. You know, it's basically like it's not like individual defined toes. It's more like web toes, but it's got like kind of a point to it. That's another thing too I need to add to the list. I need to make sure he has like claws coming out at the ends of his fingers. So claws at ends of fingers. How the heck did I forget that? He has like, you know, like Black Panther claws, you know? I must have brushed up against something. My arm will not stop itching. Okay. So we'll do feet, and then we'll do the claws on the hands. Actually, let me duplicate this first because I am terrible at doing feet, and I don't feel like being here all night doing something that I'm not good at. I don't know what it is. I just have a hard time. Like, I need to do a study. You know, like when you're not good at something, it's you got to go ahead and just like practice it. But like, I don't want to do a project that's focused on feet. That feels like, I don't know. I don't want to do that yet. You know. I gotta think of like a cool character that was like very like, I don't know, foot driven. Maybe like trying to think. Maybe like a Quentin Tarantino character. He likes feet. I could send it to him on like, I don't know if he's on social media, probably not, but like, Quentin, what do you think of this feet? And he'd be like, respect, bruh. Respect. Okay. See, I don't need him to have like really well defined like toes or anything. Let me move that. I just want it to look like he's not wearing like little shoes, you know. That's what it looked like. That's what it looks like before. This is what it looks like now. Let's I think that's better. Okay. You know, I don't even know why I fixed that. It's not like his toe needs to be perfectly aligned to the ground. I need to add some more topology to this. Here we go. Okay. I'm just giving him 3 toes, and I feel like that doesn't make sense because he has, you know, 5 fingers, but you know, he's also an alien, so it's not really like, you know, hard-coded toe rules. That was a weird thing to say. Nah. I'll just keep it like that. And I can move on with my life. Okay. That's really all I want. I just wanted a little bit of a shape in there that looks like, you know, there's some bones or definition in there. It's not a little boot he's got on, you know. Is it flat though? Gotta make sure it's flat. That way when it's printed, it will be flat with the bottom of whatever it's standing on. Okay, here we go. Okay, a drink of water. I should save. Sweet and sour schnitzel. Sends a purple heart emoji. Thank you. I feel it. Okay. Just messing with his calves a little bit more. All right. Yeah. Looks very monster-like. Okay, so we can cross that off the list. Where is that? Define feet a little bit better. That's done. Change pose of legs. All right, so this is a defining moment. Do I want to change his pose so that he's kind of turned more? I don't think so. I think I like him towering over the frying pan, like right in front of him. Thank you. I work very hard on these calves. I don't know why. It's like one of the things I have a lot of fun doing. They're easy to do, maybe. It's just like fun to kind of, you know, get them like pointed and sharp. I'll work on it more as I. He's very soft right now. Like this character is very soft, like silhouette going on. But as I start merging the parts together, I start getting harder lines in certain areas, like where the muscle kind of contours and moves in like hard angles. Okay. Yeah, so do I want to keep him at an angle or straight on? I think it's straight on. I like it. I'm seeing it in my mind like when it renders, where it's almost like it's a spotlight coming down. You know, it's giving him like this very kind of like menacing look. Maybe when I put it in the blender, I can like have like a little kitchen scene. I think that would make it a little funnier too, where it's like a very dramatic scene, but he's still like in the kitchen cooking, which is like, where else would he be anyway, right? So I should probably do that. So yeah, I think I'm gonna do this straight on. I didn't think I would do that. I thought it would be more at an angle, but I think the context of this works best when it's the guy's face right on the frying pan, like looking up, you know, and Venom's right above him. I think it works centered. I think the tongue too. The tongue looks best when it's viewed straight on. When you view it from the side, it just doesn't work as well. So yeah, surprise, surprise. Okay. This is a moment where it's like, okay, I'm gonna start fusing stuff together. You're like, ooh, okay. Gonna have to clone a bunch of things, save a backup file, turn his body. So I'm gonna take turn body off. Rectangles not yet. Open mouth and head and frying pan. Did that. Apron is gonna be much later on. Merge all the shapes. Probably gonna do that soon. Work on the gums. Okay, that's an important one. You know, I'll probably merge most of the body first and leave the head last, because I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to fuse. I mean, eventually I'll have to fuse it all together, but for the rendering, I don't necessarily need to. I can keep some parts separate, such as the gums, the teeth, all that stuff. It's going to be a lot easier if that's separate. That way, when I bring it into Blender and start applying materials to it, I don't have to like go in and like isolate part of a mesh and apply materials just to that part, and then it'd be way more complex and difficult and just needless. So I think I'll work on fusing the body together and keeping the head separate, and then I can also work on the eyes later on too, since the head is going to be separate. Claws at the ends of the finger, so I don't need to do the hands, but the claws need to be done. Close that. Hands. Okay, so we got a bunch of hands in here. I should probably delete some. Oh, it feels weird to delete that. Like, no going back. Except for there is, because I have a backup file, so. All right. Trying to think, should I add the claws by making them separate and then kind of just applying it on top of it, or should I stretch the individual fingers out? That way the claws are already part of the tip of the finger. I am guessing it'd be better, safer, and easier to duplicate consistently by just applying it as a single subtool and then duplicating it and putting it over the finger. So let's do it that way. I will go ahead, make a little cylinder. I'm going to taper the cylinder so that the top of it is a lot more. There we go. And then I'm going to stretch that out. Let me solo this for a second. Okay. Whoa. I could do this better too. There's a way to add symmetry on like all four. Like right now I only have it on 2 areas, see, on the right and left, but you can do symmetry so that it's, you know, like the 4 quadrants. You might even be able to do more, but there's so much you can do in all these programs that, you know, everyone kind of has a baseline of things they do similar, things that they collectively know, but there are certain shortcuts and things that I'm still like not, I still have never used, and I kind of know they exist, but I don't ever have to really use them that much. So when it comes time to like learning how to do it, I'm like, I could learn that right now, and it might take me 5 minutes, and that would be good to probably go learn. Or I could just do it the way that I know and save myself that time, and then move on to the next thing. It's like, I'll just do it the way that I know. It's not as practical, or maybe it takes a little bit more time, but I just don't feel like researching it at this moment. That's why I watch sculpting videos while I work. Like during the day when I'm working, I'll watch sculpting videos, and it's nice to see like how people are doing it, and you'll see them, you know, sculpt something in a way that you're like, oh, I didn't. That's a feature you can use. Like, wait, hold on, like rewind. Okay, so let me turn off everything else because I'm going to be working on the hands, and I don't want to see anything else. I don't want it getting in my way. Turn off that, turn off that. What the heck? Why is that guy still? Oh, okay, because it has it selected. That was a weird thing for me to learn with ZBrush, is that if you have, like, right now I have this folder legs hidden, but if I simply click something inside of it, it will show. So even though I have it hidden, if I click on it, it will still show up. And once you understand that in ZBrush, it does become a benefit. But when you're first learning the program, and you think you hid something and it's still visible and you don't know why, it makes you lose your damn mind. And you're just like, what? I don't understand what's happening. I hit it. Why is it still here? Okay. This is a very bugle looking nail right now. Very much a bugle. very much wanting to put it on the end of my finger and eat it. FYI, nacho bugles are the bomb. FYI, I just said the bomb. Who says that? People who eat bugles, I guess. Okay. This is very not great looking. Stop it. Well, geometry should be a lot higher. Again, I don't want to make it so thin because I'm thinking about the 3D printing factor. Like, if this is so thin, is it going to chip off? Is it going to be harder to get a good result with? I think what I need to do is actually trim the end of it. Yes. There we go. Maybe not that much. And then just kind of go with that. My God, the Dynamesh is like not wanting this to remesh at a high geometry count. And I'm going to merge it. I am going to merge this to the finger, but for right now, I just want to make what the nails will look like, and then I'm just going to duplicate it and apply it over every finger where it makes sense. That way I don't have to spend all day dragging the tips of the fingers out to make it look like a nail. I can just make the nail. It's just faster this way. Okay, so there we go there. Okay. Let's see. Okay, does that look like it belongs there? Maybe a little bit more like that. The thing is that, like, as far as I remember with this character, okay, so in this reference, he has like actual finger, it's like claws coming out, but the Venom eye, like the way I remember Venom from, maybe it was a TV show and they just did it this way because it was easier to draw, but like he didn't have claws. It was like his fingers were the claw. Or like the way that I imagined it was like, it was almost like it was a suit and the suit covered everything, including like his long fingernails underneath. And so it's kind of the way that I'm imagining it, is that he doesn't have fingernails. It's really just a part of his hand. His hand itself is just like sharp and very claw-like. There's no like finger flesh and then, the nail coming out of it. I don't like saying that word. Finger flesh. Okay. I guess for the pinky, it's not really needed because you're not going to see it. Work for what is seen. Don't spend time on what is not seen. It sounds like I'm saying that to people watching, like I'm preaching, but I am actually saying it to myself, because the more I preach it to myself, the more I'm like, yes, remember this. Remember this. Like, this is, don't focus on what's not important. People don't care. Okay, so I should probably have ordered these better. So that is that one. That is that one. And I'm going to duplicate the guy over here and move that over to this finger. See, I want the nail to start almost at the same width as how the finger ends. I did that the wrong way though. There we go. A tip I I heard recently from someone that was streaming on the Pixelogic YouTube page was like, it's really important to make sure that, you know, if you're sculpting two different meshes that are going to eventually be merged, like really make sure that, you know, when you have them separated still, that it looks like they basically are kind of already merged with each other, instead of just kind of placing it and thinking that you'll just clean it up later. It's definitely a good tip. I kind of was doing that already, but I hadn't made it a rule for myself. But ever since I heard that, I was like, yeah, I really do need to do that and make sure that I'm aware that that's something that I'm doing or forgetting to do. Um, it has given me better results. Okay. I don't need to focus on that one. Okay. So, oh, I gotta do the thumb. What am I thinking? Move that up. Okay. Make it a little more straight. Looks a little bit like a shark tooth, which I guess is kind of cool. Oh yeah, it should be like bent a little bit more with the thumb, right? Maybe not so tall though. No, that made it look more fingernail like when I bent it, so I don't want it to look like a fingernail. I want it to look like it's a part of his actual hand, like his hand itself is sharp. I feel like that does make sense because, you know, like yes, Venom has teeth. He doesn't have hair. He barely has eyes. Like teeth are really the only thing that like Venom has that is close to human anatomy. Everything else is like he's like the Green Lantern, but as a villain instead of having, you know, the imagination, you know, being a power that is, you know, channeled through a ring. It's like his body himself is, you know, formed at his will and can make crazy shapes and stuff like that. So like, yeah, he doesn't need to spend time thinking about, oh, you know, let me make sure that my nails come out and look like nails. Like, no, he'd probably just have claws, you know, for his hand. So I think that, yeah, I know what I'm doing. All the comic book nerds are going to be like, yeah, he did that right. We approve. I am one of those nerds. I just didn't read as many comics when I was growing up. I was like, oh, they make movies now. Yeah, that's more of what I want to watch. I'm not sure, Askar, if you're still on, but you know what's funny is that when I was a kid, the comics I read the most were Sonic comics. I used to go, partially because yes, I was a huge Sonic fan. Still very fond of those games from when I was a kid. Um, like Sonic 2, 3, and Sonic and Knuckles were my jam. I love those games. But when I was growing up, my parents had were running a business down the street from a 7-Eleven, and I used to ask my mom for money so I could go to the 7-Eleven and like get like a Slurpee or something. And on rare occasions, she would say yes and give me, you know, like probably like $10 or something. And I was able to go down to the 7-Eleven, and they had a little comic book stand, but it was a 7-Eleven, so it wasn't like a dedicated comic book store. It was probably just comics that they had partnered with, you know, like Sonic had comics there because probably Sega or whoever was putting these comics out had partnered with 7-Eleven to push those comics. So yeah, I used to go there, and Sonic and a few other titles was all that was available. I'm like, well, I don't know what these other titles are, but I like Sonic, so I'll buy those. So I actually used to read a bunch of Sonic comics. It feels like a tongue twister to say. When I was a kid, and I was into them. You know what? I made that nail too sharp. I'm gonna cut it off. There we go. Okay. All right, let's show the rest of this guy. We've had the hands on the screen for a long time. Let's save it though first. Okay. So that's the nails on that hand. I'm digging it. I think once it's merged, it will look a lot better. I got to add it to the other hand, but before we do that, let's just give it a look. See how it looks. Where's that frying pan at? There's that. Turn the legs on, turn the tendrils on. Turn on that guy. Yeah, I think the nails work. I gotta fix this knuckle. It still looks a little off. It's fine. Cool. I really want to put the slits into the spatula because I feel like I want to see what it looks like when there's holes in there. Like I can see the arm, but I don't need to do that. It's not going to change much. It's just this thing that's been itching. Like since I've added it to the scene, like I want to put the holes in there. Okay. All right, let's. Ooh. Every time it gets me. Taldart520, thank you so much for the follow. I do appreciate it. For real. Okay. Every time it gets me, that follow sound, it just comes out of nowhere. I need to get some like music in here or something. So the moment I hear something else other than my voice and the clicks of my keyboard and stuff, I'm not like, ooh. I should be wearing my Apple Watch. I would like to see like how my heart spikes every time I get one of those the follows in. Okay. So we are adding more nails to the end of the fingers there. I'm going to see if I can just keep the... I like showing the whole model because I hate just isolating one part for the stream and then like people might jump on here and be like, what the hell is he working on? I'd rather show a lot more Venom. So for the people. Oh man, I did not separate out the nails. It's going to get the folder that I guess you guys can't really see. It's down here a little bit if you can see my mouse. It's getting messy. Okay. I should at least move... I should at least move these nails to be near where the hands are in the folder layout. That way it's easier to... I don't know why I'm talking about this. This is not interesting for the stream. Okay. Can we just talk about the fact that like they got Tom Hardy to play Venom and how amazing that is? Like I would not have been surprised if like someone during some press junket interview was like, Tom Hardy, you're really famous right now and you're doing so much amazing work. Have like, Sony or, anyone reached out to you? And he's like, yeah, I did a comic book movie. I was Bane. I did it for Christopher Nolan, as like a favor. And I got to do like a weird voice. So like, cool, but I'm kind of over it. It's not really my thing. But man, like Venom, they got him to come in and do a Venom movie, and I think that's freaking awesome because they could have got so many other people to do the movie, but they got Tom Hardy. Oh snap! Thanks for joining, Elliot. Topher Grace. Yeah, they should get him. I think he would be great for it. God. I was talking about this a little bit yesterday, but I remember going to the theater to see that movie, and I was hyped for it. Everyone was. The I mean, we knew Venom was going to be in it. They didn't even, I feel like they didn't even show him in the trailer before the movie came out. All you saw was like the church scene where the goo was coming down and covering him, and he was like, ah, and you're just like, oh, he's going to be in it. Oh, I know he's going to be in it. And then of course, like, I think it's like well over like halfway through the movie, he finally even gets the symbiote on him. And then maybe 3/4 of the way is like when you finally see Venom, and he's like, it's like in a dark alley, so you can't really see him. You're just like, put some light on him, like, let me see, what does he look like? And then every time he's on camera after that, it's like this really quick shot. It's like, what it reminds me of is the freaking Godzilla remake. All the other Godzilla movies that have come out so far, in terms of you actually seeing Godzilla, and getting some like good Godzilla, rumble action in, like, it's fine. But that first Godzilla movie, I was so mad at, because first off, I went to the theater and it's the first and last time I ever did this, but I got the like the 4D, I don't know what they call it, like rumble seats, where it's supposed to make you feel like you're in the movie more than like you already are at the theater, that has like surround sound and IMAX. Total waste of money. At least the ones I went to was, because all it was that like it would totally take me out of the movie. So I'd be in the movie and it'd be like, oh, something's happening, and my chair would like jolt over to the left, and it's like, okay, now I'm not thinking about the movie. Now I'm thinking about like, how long is this gonna last? But yeah, I did that with the Godzilla remake that came out, the one with oh my god, what's his name, Walter White, what's the guy that plays that character? I saw that movie, and oh my god, like, Godzilla's barely in it. Like, there's a scene in the movie where it's like, I think it's called like the Mutos, it's like what he's battling, and you have this perspective, and it's like Godzilla is marching towards the Mutos, and the Mutos are about to attack, and then the door closes on the scene. They stop it right as the battle's about to begin, and I leaned forward. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, the movie was already halfway over. It had just started its third act, and oh my god, I was livid. I'm like, just show it. Like, we know it's Godzilla. Like, we've already seen him, kind of like, you don't need to keep hiding him at this point. Like, you're just infuriating the audience at this point. Yeah. So I don't know what I was even talking about, but anyway, yeah, they hid Venom so much in that movie that it really got to me. And then when they finally like did show him, it's like they wanted to show Topher Grace's face more than anything. Then like, it's like they didn't quite understand like why people wanted, like, what they wanted to see from Venom. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna put Venom in it, and it's gonna be like Topher Grace most of the time with like really weird applied symbiote webbing around him. We're gonna give him like pointed teeth, which is gonna like take you out of the movie. You're like, is his teeth busted right now? Is that like a thing? I actually saw a thread. I believe it's real, but it was like someone asked Topher Grace if he was going to be in the new Spider-Man, like Far From Home, and he had a very awesome, brilliant reply where like it sounded like at first like where it was like, yeah, he was actually talking about how he was going to be in it, but then it totally diverges into this like crazy, like almost sounding like fan theory. It was awesome. Felt classy too. Like, yeah, I'm not going to be in it. Okay. I am also very hyped for that movie. I don't know if Andrew Garfield is going to be in it. I don't know if Tobey Maguire is going to be in it. It doesn't make sense to me that they won't be in it if they're going to have the villains from their movies in there. Like, I just feel like that's a huge missed opportunity, and I think Marvel Studios is smart enough to know that if they don't do it, it's going to be a huge letdown and a missed opportunity in the eyes of the fans. And I don't think that's something they have an interest in being perceived. Like, yeah, like, we understand the fans want this, but like, if you're going to go, if they're going to go this route, then they should go all the way. you know? Um, so I feel like it would be a smart idea to have them in it. I think Marvel knows that. Were they able to get them? Maybe they did reach out to Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, and one of them couldn't do it. So that I don't know. I think if one of them couldn't do it, they would still try to get the other one and just write the script in a way that only another Spider-Man would show up. What I really hope happens is we get even if it's just a cameo, Miles Morales. I want to see a live action Miles Morales. I love Into the Spider-Verse. I saw that movie like 4 times in theaters. I kid you not. Um, love that movie, and I love that it's an animated film. I love how they animated that film, but it also made me feel like I want to see his character, um, for real. Like I want to see him in an actual like Marvel movie, and I feel like Marvel's got to be thinking about that. Like, dude, like Peter Parker's cool and all, but people are really feeling Miles Morales. Like people really like this character. He resonates with the fans now. Um, I hate to say this, but I don't think that Miles angers a lot of the more sensitive crowds that for some reason get butthurt when the character of color is like in a film. I think everyone's cool with Miles, so it's like, yeah, like let's get like. I would be happy if Toby Maguire and what was I gonna say? Andrew Garfield do not show up, but instead they get someone playing Miles Morales, and it's like, boom, guess what? Spider-Man is going to be now Miles Morales in the movie. Like we're going to have our own Miles Morales spinoff, and Marvel's going to do it. And yeah, I don't know. It would just be, I would love that. I think that would be a way cooler way to go. Maybe they do them all. Maybe it's like we get Tom Holland, we get the other 2 old Spider-Man, and then we introduce another new Spider-Man. Or maybe they do Gwen Stacy. I don't think that they would do Gwen Stacy, but as a is it Ghost Spider or Spider Gwen? I say Ghost Spider because I was watching the Spider-Man animated series with my daughter. It's on Disney Plus. It's like a kid show, and they call her Ghost Spider. I don't know enough about the character if like that's like her nickname. So yeah, Into the Spider-Verse is seriously. I mean, it's if you ask me what is like my top 10 movies, like Spider-Verse is in there, and it's in the top 5. Like I love that movie. There's so much about that movie I appreciate. Like I just watch it over and over again for different reasons. Like it's a good story. It's like the voice acting is amazing. The characters are interesting and fascinating. They take characters that we already know and they remix them in ways that are very different and unique. It introduces like a new character that still, like when I watch it now, it still feels new to me. Like Miles Morales, like I've been aware of that character, but like watching that movie, like I love being reintroduced to that character. Yeah, it's a fantastic film. Let me see here. I saw Spider-Verse 3 times in the movies and 2 more times at home. I have lost count how many times I have seen that movie, like in total, because sometimes I'll just put it on. I have the art book for it. Actually, I need to break that out. I think we saw it in theater once, didn't we? Great movie. Wasn't expecting much. Watching it multiple times and always love it. Sweet and Sour. Which movie are we referring to? Great movie. Were you talking about Spider-Verse or another one? Oh, I messed something up. Okay, that's fine. I have to say, we do live in an amazing time for if you're a comic book fan. Comic book movies are incredible right now. I was just talking to my wife about this, but like Into the Spider-Verse, okay, yeah. I I expected to like that movie, um, but I think the fact that it was like animated for me, like I don't know, like I love animation. I love Pixar puts out a new movie, they put out a new trailer or whatever, like I watch it immediately. I'm interested. But I think, I don't know, the fact that it's animated makes me feel a little less invested in the movie because I don't know, maybe it's because of the fact that it's not live action that I don't get as engaged or feel like the stakes are as real. So yeah, I had kind of the same expectation where I thought I would like it. I thought that it would be a good, fine animated film, but I thought maybe it'd be a little more kiddie. I thought maybe it would be a little more goofy. But yeah, it wasn't. It was like this is a freaking really well developed movie. Like this is all around perfect score. Um, yeah, I could just keep going on about Spider Verse. I really do. I remember I have the art book downstairs. I'm like, oh, I need to go grab that and like read through it again. I am very much looking forward to doing. I just watched the old. What was it, David Lynch? Did David Lynch do the first film adaptation of it? I had saw it a long time ago. I remember just not really being into it. I think I was too young. But what's the director's name who's doing the new one? Dennis. I forget his last name. It starts with a V. It's hard to pronounce for me. I'm a huge fan of his work though, like Sicario, Arrival. I think he did. Yeah, like a lot. Most of the work that he has put out, I have been just like, wow, like this dude is freaking awesome. His work is amazing. It's so different than a lot of stuff that's coming out. Blade Runner. He did Blade Runner, the new one. I love that movie. I saw that in theater. Holy crap. I think I saw that in IMAX and I was like the score and the sound effects were so loud. It's like, I'm really enjoying this. Like even like what do they call it? The spinners? Is that what they call the cars that fly in Blade Runner? Like when they were like lifting off in the movie, like that movie's version of it, and they have like the weird sound effect that goes with it. I was like, this is kind of loud. But amazing movie. I don't know why, but it reminded me of Cowboy Bebop, which is a segue here. I can't wait to see that. I've been waiting for that to come out forever. Also, another fun fact, one of the first things I've ever made that went viral, and I haven't had a lot of the things that have gone viral, but probably the one thing that's gone the furthest in viralness was I did a Keanu Reeves as Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop in Photoshop, and I posted it to like my blog at the time, and it got picked up by a bunch of like movie blogs and stuff like that. And of course, like half of them took my little image credit I put it in there where it said like Photoshop by me. It's like, come on, guys! Like, what's the game here? You don't want someone to check out like who it came from. But yeah, if you look up Keanu Reeves on Keanu Reeves, I think Spike Spiegel. I did like a Photoshop of him. Yeah, if you look it up, it's like the first thing that comes up in search. It's like him sitting at the table from Constantine, and I just photoshopped his hair. It's like a really yellow photo. But yeah, I remember like when I posted it, and then I don't know how I found out, but I started seeing it elsewhere. I think I was like, "Hey, I made that image," and then sure enough, I did like a TinEye like reverse image search on it. I found out it was on all these different. Let me see if I can show it on stream. Okay, hold on. Sorry, I really need to set up like a browser like screen for this. Okay, I think I can just capture it like this. If I just switch it over to Chrome real quick. Where is my Chrome? Okay, switching it over. Okay, you can see Chrome. This is the image right here. I'll just make that bigger. Nothing too fancy. It was just his hair, basically, and I flipped the. I remember working. Probably the hardest part was flipping the collar to pop out. It's not even correct. Like it starts over here. It wouldn't start over there. So, yeah, I did that, and it went viral on a bunch of like blogs and stuff. And that's back when Keanu Reeves was actually slated to play Spike Spiegel in a Cowboy Bebop movie, and then it kept getting delayed. And then I heard that they had a script done, but it was like the budget, they couldn't make the budget work or something, which is like, I understand. It's a huge universe with very complex, fantastic, sci-fi ideas in it. I was actually really surprised to hear that like Netflix was picking it up, because like, and I mean, they don't put a huge budget into some things. They don't put a huge budget into most things, I guess I should say. Like I love The Witcher, but like there are definitely parts of that show where I'm like, could have spent a little more money on that. The monsters in it are pretty good, but yeah. So I'm excited to see the new season because I'm hoping that the popularity of the first season elevates the budget a little bit. But hearing that they picked up the rights for Cowboy Bebop, I was like, wow, that seems like an expensive project to take on. And the trailer, like, listen, like no matter what, I'm a hype man for it. I'm gonna be day one. I'll probably like take off of work for that show because I want to watch it like in full. I'm just gonna binge it. I hope it comes out on a Friday so I can spend Friday night watching it. But yeah, I saw the trailer for it and like even though my hype was at an all-time high for it, I was like, it looks a little cheap. It looks a little cheap. Yeah, and they don't even have Edward in it, but Edward doesn't come in until I think like at least a quarter of the way to the series. So I guess it makes sense that they would save that character. It saves on the budget. If the show's a success, they can bring her on the second season. Yeah, it looks a lot of the stuff I saw in the trailer, or not the trailer, was really just the opening of the show, which was a complete just remake of, almost a complete remake of the anime's opening. Every set looked like a set to me. It's kind of a pet peeve of mine when I'm watching a show and like the set that they're on looks like a set. Like it looks like if you were to turn the corner, you would just see the guy, with the boom mic, like, hey. Yeah, but I think it's going to be awesome. I think I'll get over the budget of it quickly because I'll be engaged with the characters and I'll just be living it up watching, these stories that I've watched so many times in the anime now, in a live action experience. And I certainly hope it's good. And I certainly hope it resonates with a lot of other people. I think the name alone is like, what the heck? Like, if you don't know what Cowboy Bebop is, you're like, what the hell is that? So yeah, if you guys are fans, spread the hype. Half of the Witcher budget is Henry Cavill. I believe that. But then I also wonder if like maybe he was I heard he was like a huge fan of The Witcher before and that he was like helping spearhead the project move forward. So I wouldn't be surprised to hear if like maybe he took a big pay cut to make it happen and was like, I'll take that money on the second season, I need to do a Geralt. Oh my god, Geralt. How do you say his name? I never say it right. I need to do a Witcher 3D model. I actually attempted to do it before, and it was horrendous. It was very bad. You know what? I'm going to try and find it, just because I think it would be fun to show you how bad this was. I might be able to find it just in my finder here. Okay, yeah. Okay, so let me see. Look how bad this was. Hold on. Let me bring it up. 1, 2, 3. There's 3 images. It's so bad. Okay, how do I open up on here? Look at this. Oh my god. It's so bad. Look at this one. It's so bad. Oh my god. I was trying to refine it. I mean, this was a very early version of it. But yeah, you know what he looks like? He looks like I don't know the actor's name. He was in the first. This is such a random pool. Was it Wrath of the Titans? What was it? That movie Sam Worthington was in. It was like a remake, but he was like the fisherman in it. He was a bunch of other stuff. He was in what was that Ben Affleck movie where he's in Boston? He's like robbing banks and stuff. The Town. He was in The Town. He was like one of the mobster in The Town. looks like that guy. Anyway, let's get back to work. How long ago did I make it? That's a good question. A long time ago. It was it was October of 2020, so about a year ago. About a year ago I tried to make that, and as you can see, I didn't get much further past the head. I was just like, I'm doing Henry Cavill wrong, because I was actually trying to do a likeness at the time, and I had just started to practice likeness. Yeah, I knew it was time to call that one quits. So I was like, yeah, no, this ain't it. I'll come back to this. It's fun to show off the bad work. I'll be honest. Like I've been thinking about posting like some of my fails, because I have a folder of some fails that I just did not. Hey, that one didn't scare me. 4 Haas 0312. Thank you for the follow. Oh, we got Reach Haas. Oh, so okay, there's a bunch of Haas's coming in. Okay. The last 3 people, Reach and Zealous Haas 0312. Thank you for the follow. All right, we should what's the next thing? So we got the nails in there. I like it on this hand. I gotta fix his ear. His ear's clipping in there, but it's not a big deal. And I'm gonna redo the pan anyway, so maybe I should just not care about the ear. I can clip that out in Blender. I think, let me save it. I know it auto saved, but let me just save it, because I think the next part is maybe fusing of all the body parts and getting that. Start working on some definition of the muscles. It's like nerve wracking. It's like, because I can undo it, right? I can undo it, but it's the act of fusing all together feels like very permanent, even though it's not. Let me save a backup file, actually. That's a good thing to do. I'm like way too paranoid about this. It's not a big deal, but I've done it, and it has come to save my butt in the past, so it's a good thing to do. I won't save this again. I won't save it like another backup. It's still saving. Okay, here we go. So let's do the checklist for a second. Claws at the end of the fingers. We did that. Work on the teeth coming out of the gums. I don't think I need to do that right now. I think I can move on to the fusing of the different subtools. Define muscles. That has to happen after the fusing. And apron. So yeah, we're ready. We're ready to start really adding some style, adding some stylized. It's like freezing. Oh my god. I hate it when this happens. It's not a bug, but it feels like it. There's some kind of quick short key or something that when you hit it, it duplicates everything that's on the canvas, and it's always so jarring. Okay. So I gotta think about how to. I think I'll merge the arms together first. Legs, that's easy. Just thinking about the chest, like I guess I just gotta do the whole torso as one, and I'll just do the legs as another. I'm gonna move the frying pan out of the hand folder. I know you guys can't see this, but like right where my picture is, I can basically just edit this. We'll do it live. Edit my webcam. It's kind of cool. And then let me edit the chat box. Oof. I'll fix this again later. This is dangerous. I should not be doing this live. Okay. It's a feature for sure. Yeah, so you can kind of see now, but the frying pan's in this folder. So I'm gonna move that out. I'm just gonna move it out onto the canvas where the bozo head's at. And now, I should move the spatula too. I don't need that in there. Precious spatula. Do you guys call it spatula too? Like, I was kind of wondering when I heard the video, seeing it. Is it like a northeastern thing? I'm in like the Philadelphia area, and I've pretty much only ever lived on the East Coast. I've lived up and down the East Coast, and I've always heard it called a spatula. So, is it, or is it called a turner elsewhere? I'm so curious about that. Okay, so I'm gonna start duplicating folders, and it's gonna get real messy. I'm gonna delete some of the old trash ones. Delete. Leave that. So that's the head, the teeth, torso, the arms, the legs. Delete that guy. Don't need that. Ugh. What the heck? Okay, I can delete that one too. Now, oh my god, this is like stressful for me. I'm gonna merge it down. Ah! I'm stalling. I don't want to do it. Merge, 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 merge. Now this is one piece. And it's not like fused together yet. I still have to like dynamesh it together. And I gotta do this one. Ooh, I did not mean to do that last part. See? Already making goofs. And just separate that. Split masked point. There we go. Okay. All right. I am going to duplicate that folder and move a copy of it all the way up, just so I have it if I make any big mistakes and I just need to do like a hard reset with what I'm doing. Now it's back. There's a backup that exists in the file. I don't have to like go and open a whole other backup file. Spatula for sure. All right, good. Good to hear. Okay. Tendrils, I don't need that. Okay, so the hands are merged. I like the angle that it's at. I don't think I want to change. Okay, so you know what I do have to do? I do have to work on the wrist just a little bit. I don't think it's a lot of work. Here we go. I just need to make it look like it's connected to the hand a little bit better, because right now it's a little funky. Ooh. Flip it all around. And I'm not going for any like very accurate, to be honest, like anatomy here. Like, I don't think this is exactly what a wrist looks like. I like to do more. I've been moving more and more towards a stylized kind of like cartoony illustration vibe. I'll be honest, I'm still trying to find my style. I have a lot of people I follow online. They're really big inspiration. But I want to do my own thing. I want to find like what my thing looks like, and that's a big part of why I like to work on different IPs. Characters from different IPs instead of just making stuff out of my head. I have a lot of stuff I want to make that's in my head. A lot of characters I've thought up for like different stories and stuff. But I really want to get down, what my 3D style looks like. I have kind of a 2D style. I used to draw a lot, but 3D is different for me. It's like there's so much you can do with it. It's like the ability to like reuse what you make in 3D is like, it's like such a game changer to me. It's kind of a cheat, you know? It's like, okay, it's not a cheat, but like, because you put a lot more work, you know, into the different, you know, a 2D artist, they make something and the way that they painted it is the way that you see it, or the way that they drew it, whatever. And that's it. Like that's what you get. With 3D, it's like I'm like rotating around the wrist just so I can get that right. But like once I make it, once it's done, every time I say something like this, it reminds me of uh, Shaw from X-Men First Class. Like once I got it, what I can do with it, that's where the fun comes in. Yeah, like once I've made a 3D model, it's like I can go and pose this in like 10 different poses and do a bunch of different renders and have fun with it. Like most recently I did Prison Mike. If you go to my Instagram, which is at luchadev, I have Not Real Toys up on the screen. I will be putting a bunch of 3D art on there. I just recently today um, kind of restarted the Not Real Toys Instagram. I had a few posts on there, but I mainly had just set it up so that I could have the handle when I first thought of the name Not Real Toys. So but yeah, it's if you go to Lucha Dev, just like one word, you can see some of the 3D stuff. I have a public profile. That's just like my personal profile. I post a lot of pictures of my daughter, my wife, just my life, and I do post the 3D illustrations that I work on. Um, ooh, uh, but I will be putting a lot of that up on Not Real Toys. I just need to spend the time to schedule the post. But yeah, I did a Michael Scott as Prison Mike, and like I did one render that was just Michael Scott holding the world's best boss mug, and that was a lot of fun. But then I also got to make a Prison Mike scene, and like sculpt his face a little bit different, so he's making that like face, and it was fun. It was just cool. It's like cool to be able to reuse it, Um, okay, so that looks good. I spent a little more time on that than I should have. This is the thing, not the challenge, but the thing I need to be aware of is that like when I'm sculpting and I get into like a little tangent of like a talk or something I'm thinking about, that I'm having fun talking to you guys about, it's like I start to zone out on the actual 3D modeling, and I just start it's like I'm in the zone, but I'm not aware I'm in the zone, and then the zone kind of just goes off and does its own thing, and I come back, I'm like, oh yeah, I probably should stop working on that one thing. I should probably move on from the wrist. Okay. I don't know if I love the way that arm is. Okay. I think that's good. I don't know why, but there's like 2 nails right there. I don't know when that popped in. Okay. Get out of there. You hide my video. I don't need to see that. Okay. So, actually, you know what? Get out of here. Okay, so hide part. Is everything else visible? I don't want to accidentally delete one of the nails. Okay, delete. All right, so that is back to normal. Did I see some kind of, what is that? There's like a little speck right there. What the heck is that? It must have been a hidden, oh my god, the nails have like these little... When I first made the cylinder must have had a polygroup on the top and a different polygroup down through the rest of it. And that must have stayed present as I manipulated it. Interesting. Let me just go ahead and... Okay. I should be able to delete the rest to make sure that nothing else was... Okay, so delete hidden. Here we go. Turn Turn that back on. Wow, we just hit the 3-hour mark. I'm going to stream a little bit longer. Okay. So I got the nails in there. Let me see. I'm going to duplicate this again. This is where I start getting real messy. With my folder structure, that is. I just start making crazy amount of duplicates and it gets bad. Okay. I'm going to do it. I'm going to merge it all. I need to crank this up. Whoa. That is some high resolution. It's actually not that high, but this is the part I tend to rush, and I need to not rush because by rushing with the smoothing of it, I actually lose a lot of the form and the harder lines like that I actually enjoyed before it was like merged into one piece. And I think I kind of lose sight of that because I'm focused. I'm jumping around so often between. I'm like, okay, smooth here, smooth there, smooth there, that I'm not really stopping to look at, how I'm transforming the piece. I'm just looking to see did the weird creases go away that I don't want. I was very curious to see how this would turn out with the merging of the fingernail and the. Okay, yeah, not bad. This thumb looks stupid. Like that, look right, the little bloop. It's got some extra meat in there. Let me see if I can bring that down a little bit. Ah, crap. Okay, I'm just isolating the thumb, and I'm going to just flatten that out a bit because it does not need to be that thick right there. Okay. Ooh. Okay. A little bit. I don't know if I love it. Okay. This might be a boring part for everyone, so apologies if it's like, like watching paint dry or something. I actually find this part of the process like a little more relaxing. I mean, it's nerve wracking at first to merge it, but then like once you go about and start smoothing everything and seeing how it all kind of starts fusing together, it's like you just kind of go into a Zen state and you're like, ah, okay. So you can see lines there. Whoa. I actually might need to bring the, yeah. Okay, I think that's better. The smoothing wasn't working out quite as well because I think the geometry was still pretty high. Whoa. The smoothing process for me right now is like you can see right here. Let me turn my video on to make sure you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. Across this area, you can just tell where the meshes were merged. So by me smoothing it, I'm making it look a lot more realistic. I'm covering up all the seams basically and making it look like one piece because even though I've merged it and it is one piece now, it looks like it's still a bunch of pieces kind of just clipped together. Like this right here is like, that's jank. I gotta smooth that out for sure. And then what I'll do after this is that basically I'll go in and redefine some areas that lost a little bit of their sharpness or their profile. Like some of the knuckles and stuff like that are as I smooth it, like right here, you can see that it's kind of like losing it's getting a lot softer, and you know, when you're going for a stylized look, you want things to be like really clearly defined. I like a very, you know, a kind of like sharpness to mine. And I mean like, you know, where things bend, I like it to be like very, very sharp. Um, okay. It's still, I can still see a little bit of the seams there, but that's fine because I'm going to wind up putting like the, we call it the tendons and stuff, tendon lines in there. I think that usually helps a bit. So I'll do that. I'll kind of smooth that out again. Fun fact, I do not use like a Wacom tablet or something like that, or Wacom tablet. I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. I've tried them before. I actually use a mouse. Um, I have two reasons for it. I've tried tablets before, and I just wasn't really a fan. And I know that people will basically say like, "Oh, you just got to get used to it. You got to get used to it." You know, um, I believe that's true. I'm sure if I decided to dedicate a month of saying like, I'm gonna use this tablet and I'm gonna use it until I love it, I'm sure that would happen. But I cannot take a tablet everywhere with me. There are times where I am doing this on a train. Um, the company I work for is located in the city. I live outside the city, so what I'll do is sometimes when I take the train to go to the office, which is not something I have to do very often, um, I'll take my laptop with me and I'll work on a 3D character project while I'm on the train because the train ride's about an hour and a half, so it's a good amount of time where like I don't really have internet, so I can't really work on the stuff that I work on for work. Um, so I'll just I can't bring a tablet with me for that. Or if I'm in bed, if I'm spending some time with my wife, and she's watching TV, and I want to work on a character model, it really doesn't make it wouldn't feel great to bring that into bed along with the laptop and stuff like that. It's like, so I like to keep like however I'm using a tool, I like to make sure that it's consistent no matter where I'm going. So if I'm traveling, if I'm working at a smaller, office space, or smaller desk, if I'm working in bed, like I like to make sure that like everything that I'm doing feels the same, because I tend to have an issue that like when I switch the hardware that I'm using, it takes a while for my brain to adjust it if I was just previously using that tool on a different piece of hardware. Like I had I had a Microsoft Surface, like one of those books, and that when I was first learning Blender, but then I also had a MacBook for work, and I would play with Blender on my Surface, and the keys for that, even just on Windows, all you have is the control key. You don't have the command key like on Mac. But then jumping over to the Mac and using Blender, it would like throw me through a loop, and I would keep hitting like the wrong shortcuts and stuff because the keys would be in a different place. The shortcuts would be slightly different, but it was just frustrating. And it's like quick to solve, like when you make a mistake like that. But when it keeps happening over and over and over again, it just gets to me, at least. It's like I rather just I've been using a mouse for a long time. I like it. I feel like I get the stuff done that I need. It doesn't have like the sensitivity that a pen does. And I have an iPad Pro, by the way. I've done sculpting on it. That's really like when I'm in the car, if I'm going on like a road trip or like we're traveling across state lines, I'm like, I'm going to be sitting in the passenger seat for a while. I'll break out the iPad for that. But most of the time I just like, ZBrush, it's on desktop computers or, laptops, desktops only. So they should really get that on iPad and on tablets, though, because I think it's Nomad Sculpt is out on the iPad, and that's a pretty awesome piece of software. I think it is. Now I'm curious. Let me see here. Yeah, I think it's Nomad Sculpt. Yep. Nomad Sculpt on the iPad is a really awesome piece of sculpting software. I don't know if it's still like one guy who makes it, but I think it was one guy who started it, and it was like this amazing sculpting software that came out of like nowhere. I feel like on the iPad, and now it's like they keep adding these crazy cool features to it to the point like now I think they have like rendering on it. I think I've seen people just make crazy stuff in it that like I had no idea that they could do that. The same way that like I use Procreate on my iPad, and the stuff I make in Procreate versus the stuff that other people make are just like, eh, is there something I'm missing? Because like, how do you make that on the iPad? That's crazy. And that's not like an indictment on like what I think the iPad can do. It's just like I just assume it would take so much work to do that on the iPad. Okay. So hopefully that looks better. The nails a little off still, but it's okay. I'll keep working to fix it. Again, I don't want them to look like nails. I want them to look like claws that are a part of Venom and simply an extension of his entire suit. Okay. I don't know why for a second I thought he was holding a Mjolnir. Like when I turned it, I was like, Thor's. Oh, that's not Thor's hammer. That'd be kind of cool. I'm sure there's like a symbiote Thor, I don't know, image out there or something where it's like, what if Thor was merged with Venom? Okay, it would be an interesting look. Anytime Venom is attached to a character that he hasn't traditionally been attached to, it's like it's worth a look. Like, huh? So that's what he looked like, huh? I've seen like the Wolverine one. I think I've seen like Thanos with as like merged with Venom. I'm trying to think who else. Got to solo this one. Ooh, I should have fixed that. Okay, that's like way off. I don't know how that happened. I don't think I should fix that by like moving it. I think I need to go back and grab a duplicate. My bad. You know what it was? The spatula's in his hand, so I didn't see it. So if the spatula is going to stay there, I don't know. I think I should just fix it because I don't know. This is a placeholder right now. I might go in and change it a bit once I go into Blender. Like the handle might not be as wide. So I think I should just spend the time now, delete that hand, go back up to one of the duplicate folders. There we go. Duplicate that, move it back out into the hand folder that's open. And there we go. Crikey. You know what's going to happen to those? It's going to do that same thing as it did before where like the tip of the finger didn't like merge right or something. Okay. I hate that the nails going into the hand. I'm going to merge it and it's just going to become like this blob. But like, again, like it doesn't make sense to make this like anatomically correct because no one's going to see it. Like this is what they're going to see, you know? And then look at it like this. They'll see the spatula. And yeah, it's not going to be, no one's going to think about it. So, all right, what was the resolution I had that at? It's a little low. Like 570. Okay, here we go. Move that knuckle out a little bit. I had a friend who used to do, or I guess he still does it. I just don't. I don't keep in contact with him. Um, but he did 3D modeling way before I ever got into it. I was aware of it, but I didn't. I didn't do it for most of my 20s. And when I first started, I told him I was going to get into it. We were still in touch back when I started learning 3D. I was like, hey, I'm going to learn Blender. Like, I know you use 3D Studio Max. Like, do you have any tips for me though? Like, I assume there's some, at the time I thought that possibly Blender and 3D Studio Max could be like worlds apart in terms of like how they function. But now I know it's not that different. But yeah, I asked him for some advice, and he really didn't have much to give me, but I did feel very fortunate that like the advice he did give me probably was the best advice I could have heard at the time, and that was don't overthink it. And when I first heard that, I was like, what do you mean don't overthink it? Like, it's in 3D. And I think the reason that hit me so hard is because I think coming from a traditional like web and app development background, everything I do in that space is like regulated, regimented, like everything has a rule book with it. From design systems that I work on for companies and the brands, to the way that you build websites and all the rules that go in there with that, with like CSS and HTML, coding. Like, there's so many rules and all these things you have to adhere to that, like, even just working on a design system, like the simplest things such as padding and margins and font sizes and weights and stuff, like everything is calculated and accounted for. So coming into 3D and having design be really my background, that I knew that like it would help me in some ways, but I didn't realize initially how much it also kind of warped my understanding of what a process would be like to work on something in 3D. Um, and so, yeah, when he's told me that, like, don't overthink it, I heard him, but I didn't quite know what he meant by that. And so, but I would think about it a lot. I would think about it as I'm working something, and I just felt really frustrated and just feeling like, I wasn't getting anywhere, or things were just taking longer than I think because I watch other people do it on YouTube and they would just blaze through it. And I didn't understand how they were doing it so quickly, because like even now, like you're watching me do this, but like you're not seeing all the keyboard shortcuts I'm hitting on my keyboard and the way I'm navigating around like really quickly. Like there's still some things that you guys don't unfortunately get to see. I wish you could, but it's just the nature of streaming and not being, right next to me, hovering over me in person. So yeah, there was just, it stuck with me, and, it started to sink in slowly as I thought about it more and more, that like doing 3D modeling like this, and I'm saying for me in particular, I don't know about AAA game studios where they're making stuff like Uncharted, and there's like probably 100 people that are being handed around the same model and need to be on the same page in terms of like, okay, is this model scaled this exact way and fit this this armature rig in the exact way. Oops, and I just killed my thing. Oh, got me rambling again. How the heck do I get that back? Oh my god, I thought I lost that for a second. It's like ZBrush is like, this would be a good time to save. But yeah, like for the process I have, and a lot of 3D artists online, they're just really practicing sculpting and making 3D illustrations, maybe doing some basic animation. Things don't need to be exact. It's really, a lot more of like, how does it look to you when you zoom out and view it at the perspective or in the way that it's meant to be seen by you, the creator. And the more I thought about it and kept it in my mind, the faster and easier it was to kind of get through projects and not, be my own worst enemy and hold myself up on things that just didn't really matter. And to be honest, I've always felt that way anyway about design outside of, the 3D space. I've worked over 15 years now, doing design for, various different companies, and some pretty big companies, some smaller companies, and the rigidness that is in all of these places is like sometimes I feel like really detrimental to the company's growth, because when you don't care to experiment and you really, there's reasons why brand standards and stuff exist. But at the same time, I do think a lot of companies overvalue how much the viewers, the potential customers, the leads care about those standards. To them, if you changed your brand overnight, other than your logo and like your major like brand colors, they wouldn't really notice it that much. For like a lot of these like consumer sites, like if you were to go to Verizon today, you probably wouldn't realize how much that site has changed in the past month. They do tests. Oh my god, I just did something really bad. I cut the hand. I meant to isolate it. I accidentally trimmed the whole thing out of it. But yeah, these companies do massive amounts of tests where they just change little tiny things, but if they were willing to, I feel like, do a lot bigger tests and just really try to break things. And that's kind of like I guess the Silicon Valley standard motto is like break things, and fix it, like break things quick. And like, okay, they say that, but it's not really like that. I feel like it could be. I feel like adherence to brand standards and design systems and stuff sometimes really is not as big of a benefit as the company thinks it is, and also it's holding them back from trying out new ideas and whatnot that could really be successful for them and show them new avenues of revenue or new ways of attracting consumers to their product that they're just not getting right now. So this is a whole soapbox for no damn reason. So I work in the design space, so this is like my day to day. I work for a game company now, but for pretty much every job beforehand, I was not in the game space. I've only recently been privileged to join the gaming industry, which I'm very happy to be a part of now. Okay. All right. I still need to work on the hands more, but it's almost 11 o'clock, so I really should wrap it up. As much fun as I've had this stream and connecting with everyone and getting to chat about things that I love and working on this cool creature, I should wrap it up soon. My daughter would not be happy if I woke up in the morning with her to feed her and fell asleep on her. She's like, "Hey, what's going on?" See, I think I'll stop at the hand. I'll go ahead and paint. I'll paint him a black so we can get a better look at how everything looks right now. Again, if you followed me tonight and you email me at hello@notrealtoys.com with your username you followed me, your real name, so that I can put it along with the address you send me in the email, I will send you like 3 stickers. This is a Not Real Toys sticker. They're metallic. I got them from Sticker Mule. They're awesome. Everyone I've given them to so far loves them. I've seen them on water bottles and on laptops and stuff, and it's a huge honor. This is really the start for Not Real Toys. So like I just I've been doing 3D illustrations and whatnot for in a couple years now, learning and whatnot, but this is really the big, I want to say release, but the ribbon cutting is starting this streaming where I'll be doing characters for everyone to come watch and chat. But then I'll also, when I finish the characters, I'll be putting them up as 3D printing files for people who subscribe or just want them. So yeah, so what you're seeing me make here, if you want and you have a 3D printer or you want to outsource it, you can actually download those files when it's done and, get to hold it yourself. I have a 3D printer back here, and I think later on I'll be starting to stream like the 3D printing process and airbrushing and whatnot. So it's going to be bigger than just me doing 3D sculpting, but 3D sculpting and the occasional video game being played for fun, for my own sanity's sake, is going to be primarily the stream. But yeah, email me, hello@notrealtoys. It's in the little 3D spinning ad down there I put up. I got a lot of stickers to give away, so don't feel shy or like you're undeserving. If you gave me a follow, I appreciate the support, and I thank you for stopping by tonight. It's awesome. It's really very nice to have people to chat with while I do this. It's honestly, this has been a lot more fun than I knew it would be fun, but it's really cool to be able to do this and like share it with people. So thank you. Let's give him a paint. Turn the head and the teeth off, because if I have those visible, that was cool to see. If I have those visible, it'll paint over all the existing paint that I already applied to the head and the teeth. Subtool master. Let's just zoom out so we can see this happen. And fill. Okay. So Ascar asked me earlier, how come Venom was white aside from his head? And the reason for that is because it's a lot harder to see what I'm sculpting, especially like in the under areas, because it's like just pure black. I can't really see the detail. So while I'm in the sculpting phase, most of the body and stuff is white. It won't end that way, but it's white so I can have a clearer view of what the character, looks like. But this is kind of what he'll look like. I have to add a lot of definition to the arms and stuff, the legs, whatnot. Even the tongue is going to have like bumps and stuff and be pretty gnarly. Maybe I'll have some like that green drool we saw earlier, in the character over here. I'm also really excited to do is the apron / emblem on his chest. It's like there's just random things I get excited to do with the character. The apron and the emblem I feel like are going to be fun to do. Something I'm dreading doing, the eyes, I don't know why. They're not that complex, with the character. You can really do all types of different styles with it, but I think for me it's just like the eyes are such an important part of the character, of any character, that it's like gotta get this right. You gotta get it done right. And also if you weren't around earlier, when we were debating whether or not to do Eddie Brock kind of coming out of the character, we decided not to, and instead we're going to do a standard Venom, and then we're also going to do an alternate version where the Venom's face is peeled back and Eddie Brock's face is actually inside of that. So I should probably add that to the list to not forget, because that's a pretty big thing to forget. Do variant with Eddie Brock's head popping out. That'd be really cool. And like I've thought about doing like standard print files and then doing like, I don't know, like maybe the special version with Eddie's head coming out of it would be like a special variant that only like subscribers could get or something. I don't know. This is still very early. Right now I'm just focused on kind of getting used to this process, getting comfortable on stream, and growing a little bit of a following, and then I'll start putting files up and stuff for people who watch to download and be able to use. So all right, I am going to call it a night. Thank you so much again for tuning in. Again, email me if you want some stickers. hello@notrealtoys.com with your username and your address. I don't need it for anything else. I just want to send people stickers because I got a lot of them and I love to spread the love. So I hope to chat with you again. Thanks for tuning in.